it's less of a problem. I feel like they're all on the server, so that's got to be a great sign, if nothing else. Obviously, we do have another game coming up a little bit later in the day as well, another best of 3 that's going to be following this one. So quite a bit of Counter-Strike. We start early, but then we also go on for a while. So I think it's going to be lots of fun. A liquid MIBR that we're going to be doing here on the B stream, and there's also an A stream at the same time. If you guys have the RAM for it, open up another browser and watch both at the same time. Here we go.
Yes, sir. And we are ready to dive into our first best of 3 of the tournament. Lynn Vision is starting on the CT side, and GamerLegion coming out with a couple of flashes and a smoke early doors. Going to be a fast, rapid attack from Hypex, and he will drop Starry, instantly pushing through into bathrooms.
That is a quick way to get started. It looks like they're not going to delay. They'll leave one player behind in CTR. The rest are going to be pushing the side. He's just there to catch the rotations. Good flash going over. Rez with the headshot on Saka, and it's all gone completely wrong here for the Lynn Vision defense. Emilia, I like the idea of trying to just rush through, but unfortunately, when they're all dead on the other side, he is just running through a smoke. So that is quick speed coming in from the side of GamerLegion and absolutely wrecking Lynn Vision at the beginning here. That's how you want to get started. We had a bit of a slow start, but now, you know, they're putting up some speed. They're trying to catch us up as quick as they can.
Yeah, no doubt. And that looked pretty straightforward, right? Like, no frills, nothing particularly spectacular about the strategy. You get the pick you're looking for, you explode, you make sure you make the most of it. And unfortunately, we have the casualty of ZTR once again. His PC demons continue as his corpse litters the ground. And everyone looks around like, oh, come on.
Please, please. Yeah. Well, to be fair, though, if you're a professional Counter-Strike player, everyone's been through this multiple times, so I'm sure everyone has their own routine for not getting too stressed out or whatever. I guess it helps when you need the pistol round anyway. It does look like we have a bit of a buy-up coming in from the Lynn Vision side, which has started to become more and more popular, obviously, even on the CT sides. On a map like Overpass, is it a good idea? I haven't seen these work too much, to be honest, on Overpass. It doesn't mean it can't work, but I just feel like if you're going to do it, I'd be more in favor of trying for like a double scout or something, if it's even possible.
Yeah, there's a lot of avenues and places where you can make the scouts work. Obviously up in mid, long. You can even get aggressive on sort of monster side as well. I think the problem is, though, that you're susceptible to being charged down from like Mac 10s, flashbangs, like fast, rapid hits. It's the complete Achilles heel of that kind of a purchase. So I'm not sure if... And I feel like Lynn Vision, like obviously Zaka, we know what he's capable with his AWP and his scouts, but I don't really look at the rest of that squad and think that they have like a secondary AWPer or a scout that's like really at that kind of like level that can make the most of it. Like when you think of a team like Vitality, Rops is fine to pick up an AWP. Like, to be honest, probably everyone on that team can AWP to some degree, shape or form. And a lot of these squads kind of have the same sort of caliber. So I believe Anders has had another issue of his own. It's all going on right now. Having crashes left, right, and center. It's fine. It's all good. I'm here to guide you through, guys. Hopefully, pray for Anders, please. Pray for ZTR as well. Here's the replay, though, of what happened in the first round. As I said, nothing too spectacular, just a straight-up rush. I think Westwellen will feel like he should have done better from that position. He had a couple of opportunities before he got encircled to rattle off the USP, but we all know what the hitboxes are like when you're shooting someone in the back of the head. It is a cruel and disastrous moment more often than not. However, ZTR is back on the server. He has Julies, interestingly enough. But now they are going to be purchasing back up to where we were before. Lynn Vision, as Anders touched on before he got wrecked, they are going to go for the Force. And I do agree with his sentiment. It doesn't often work on a map like Overpass. I'd be curious to see if we do see some aggression from Lynn Vision to try and supplement some of their shortcomings in terms of utility especially. But early on, GamerLegion tossing the molly over onto shorts. This is a good way of dealing with some of that aggression. It has been smoked off. Tees will be very alert and aware of this. And knowing that Lynn Vision on low economy, that effectively gives away the play almost instantaneously. They will be boosting up, though, as a result, onto the short side on sandbags. Starry, the one player that shone bright against MIBR in a complete routing of a loss, is now going to be afforded the luxury to take the head of PR and back away. So they get the hit and run they were looking for. They're not able, obviously, to pick up the weapon outside of Monster, but it now does apply a lot more pressure onto GamerLegion. A fast 4-man rotation back up onto A. And GL have very little to show for it. Sure, they still have a few smokes, a few flashes, but very little map control.
Well, here we go. Back towards the B-bomb site. I return a little bit once again. A failed smoke. That is out in the middle of nowhere. An unexpected side effect, but they should be able to get onto the site. Surely, Call Me Sue alone with just a UMP. No flashes to set him up. It's a nice stink to begin with. Honestly, he's done very well so far. Flash around the corner. CTR trying to get him, but he dies instead. And Rez, he can't hunt him down. This is very awkward. We're talking less than 30 seconds as they try and get onto the A site. And it's just a bit of a fumble so far for GamerLegion. Trying to get the bomb down, but being interrupted. This is buying even more time off the clock. They finally are going to be putting in the digits. Bomb nearly planted here. It's the 1v1, and Towson gets a triple and saves GamerLegion. That is ridiculously close.
That is one of the most chaotic rounds you will ever see at this level of Counter-Strike. It was just, how did Call Me Sue survive for that long with the UMP, Anders? I'm so mind-blown at that he gets a kill onto ZTR. It was UMP versus UMP. It feels like we're back in 2017 or something. And then he backs out on short. It's getting shot all around him. Somehow survives. And it felt like that was going to be the difference maker. You could see that with 20 seconds left, GamerLegion were too scared to fully commit to the bomb plant because there were so many angles they had to cover. But here we are, the force buy, whichever way you spin it. Yes, 4 casualties, but you're back into an eco with a CZ and a P250 with a Deagle, and that's it. A great opportunity for GamerLegion to get a 3-0.
Really is. Oof. Nice grenades around the corner. I do like that. Making sure that Starry wasn't up to anything crazy at that particular situation. Got a C75 as well on Call Me Sue, so definitely a rare sighting these days. I don't get to see that weapon that much. I've never been able to use it myself, so I don't really have any particular love for the weapon, but doesn't mean it's not fun to see. Nobody at the B-bomb site, and in classic Counter-Strike fashion, PR is going to be checking out the bomb site, because why not? We are going to be seeing a fairly easy round from here on out, to be honest. So yeah, that 3-0 that we were talking about pretty much secured at this stage for GamerLegion. That's good work.
Barring a disaster, that is. The economy, though, not ideal. So even if GamerLegion get 3-0, but they lose 3 or 4 players, then Lynn Vision can be pretty happy about that going into their next one. So there's still plenty to play with and to play for. Call Me Sue playing up close with the CZ. PR decides better of that. Wise decision. Not really worth hunting down a hodgepodge of pistols. So 3-0 coming up. Amelia trying to wrap around the back with the Deagle. 2 players strong. Zaka just behind him. It's hard to see, though, only Towson being low, how Lynn Vision can get anything out of this round. The bomb radius explosion is not really going to affect the bulk of GamerLegion.
Yeah.
So I think they're just going to tap, shake hands, and just call the stalemate here. Although the push is going to come through, and there's a firing squad. Amelia never stood a chance.
Another kill for the MAC-10. A little bit more money made. I mean, I guess I'll take it if you're on the T side there. They're going to be carrying over that MAC-10. Are they going to... I mean, I guess you could just use it as a human flashbang, as we like to say, jump into a site. CTR has one as well, so double MAC-10 going into this one is quite an interesting bonus round situation. All right, one of them is going to be upgraded. No, they're going to throw it up to Hypex instead. So I'm really interested in this. I don't necessarily hate it, but it is just... it's going to be perhaps affecting how they play this round. Want to get a bit closer. PR straight through with the Galil. That's lightning fast, trying to take the L bend, and I think they might just go for it straight away. They're all outside of the B bomb side. Why delay at this stage? Unless you're going to go back and try and reclaim the A side of the map, what are you really achieving here by waiting?
That's a very good point. You can see that Hypex is about to throw a flash in, and he's one of the MAC-10 players, so they're not going to be charging in with the SMGs first. Will that cause them a lot of problems? Westmelon in the time being is going to pick up one, but gets traded back instantly from PR. And now those SMGs can spread their wings and fly onto the site. Molotovs proceeding to push 2 of them back on the site, and it's going to burn Starry alive, who never had a chance. I think a flashbang also connected on him. And Rez will thread one more kill in, his second in the round, looking way more comfortable for GamerLegion than I thought at first when they pushed outside a monster. I mean, what can Zaka realistically do here, Anders? I mean, surely he's thinking of saving already.
Yeah, in spite of the fact that that smoke did fail from the sniper spot, it doesn't really matter, I suppose. Even if it failed, it probably could have worked for Rez to hide inside of. But yeah, I think he was probably sticking around hoping to get one kill and just make it a bit more expensive. Doubt he was ever going to be able to do anything else there. That's pretty remarkable work, and it is true what you said as well. The MAC-10s weren't even necessarily leading the charge. Love the position as well from PR at the beginning. He just catches Westmelon. That's the L-bend. He's just there to make sure that no one can rotate back. So super well played, GamerLegion. That is from potentially a sketchy second round that they absolutely could have lost, except for Towson getting the triple. This is now looking like a very good start.
No doubt. And whether it's the MAC-10s or the AK Galil in first, they lost 2 players, but the other 2 were able to trade through, and so they maintained 3 rifles regardless. So the money has built up nicely. Only PR below the $3,000 mark. Everyone else is looking good. Whereas the complete opposite said for Lynn Vision, sure, their round loss is starting to accrue, but I mean, a map that typically lends itself to the CT side, and you're already 4-0 down here, and as the pressure is mounting so quickly.
Yeah, they're taking up space towards this connector position. It is important. This is where Starry got double-naded last time, so obviously you don't want to be experiencing that again. The flashes are doing real damage to him here. It's really dangerous. UMP up front, trying to pre-fire the corner. It's kind of worked out, and he's got some backup here. Hypex with good kills, but Westmelon opening the door and just making sure he can trade that kill out. So honestly, for a UMP and a couple of pistols, it's not bad to trade that evenly and be left in this 3v3. I kind of like it from Lynn Vision.
Oh, they'll take it for sure. Because now it's only Call Me Sue that doesn't have a primary weapon. The downside, though, is Zach has been caught in the cross, winged, as he gets clipped down to 21. And that flash has afforded Call Me Sue to get up close on the truck, but Brez seems like he's read this script and he knows what's coming up here. Still 45 seconds. They don't have to fully commit to this bomb site if they don't feel it, but Rez decides he's going to put bullets to heads as Westmelon falls down. He knows Call Me Sue is here, but he comes out second best in that trade. A lot of damage, though, has been inflicted. This 2v2 should still favor GamerLegion.
Should. They've got some time here. Bomb has luckily made its way all the way there, and just the health that's left, you're right, is one of the big concerns. No more utility really in play, but the smoke going down is a big issue, obviously. And I think they've already made up their minds. Unfortunately, I kind of would have loved to have seen them gone for it, but I guess the AK and the AWP, it's just such valuable weapons to fight with that they probably are happy to just go into the next round with it. But what a start. This is the T side of Overpass, so typically can be quite brutal to play. GamerLegion doing a very good job at the beginning, you've got to say.
Yeah, especially after a couple of, sketchy and wacky moments in that second round especially. Comes down to a chaotic 1v1 that goes the way of GamerLegion. But that's now in the rearview mirror, and it's just gaining more and more distance. I touched on the, the round loss bonus building up for Lynn Vision. That's all well and good. You've got an AK, but you've got to start doing something with these weapons. Saving's all fine for bolstering up future rounds, but you have nothing to build off right now in terms of your overall stature in this map. And again, train's next. This is an unknown sort of quantity when it comes to Lynn Vision. So this is about as bad as it gets to start off a best of 3. But maybe they can make the weapons work here, Anders. They got the AK we touched on. They got the AWP. Can they get Zaka involved? I mean, he's died twice, and they've lost 5 times. It goes to show how quickly they've had to pull the plug in these rounds.
General, it's just been too much of a slow start at the moment here. I do like the damage on the Towson and Hypex. This definitely changed. Oh, it's close to getting the wall bang there. And to be fair, Emilia did take a bit of damage, but yeah, let's see if they are able to do a little bit more. I feel like the insistence on playing towards this connector or the restrooms is interesting. I wish they would be a little bit more forward on the A side, just to slow down GamerLegion. I feel like, look at how much space the T side has to just walk here. They're not running into any of the CTs. I think that's one of the benefits of Overpass on the CT side, is that you can... You don't have to fight to the death. You can just put a little bit of pressure on the T side and then fall back to the next corner and then fall back again and all the way back into the A bomb side. And it can waste a good like 30-40 seconds for them to clear every corner. Instead, it's just GamerLegion checking it out, throwing some deep grenades, I think more for effect than anything else. And then they're back towards the B bomb side, which there's just 2 people holding here. This could be super hard for Lynn Vision to hold.
And once again, it's Hypex. He was the MAC-10 wielder that used his pop flash, and they got them onto the site a couple rounds ago, and he's lining it up again. Transitional play as well, as Kormisu is going to meet them head-to-head. There was another flash tossed in for good measure. Molotov's placed down, the bomb has been dropped, but there's only 20 seconds left on the clock. They've got to push forward.
That Molotov, I don't think it covers all the way to the wall. There is a chance that Westmelon can stick around. He just needs this one kill. Towson with the bomb getting closer. It's so much damage, but Westmelon, he still goes down. And now Emilia here, trying to see if he can hold on to it. Just needs to kill on the bomb, but he can't jump up in time. It's ridiculously close, but it will be a double for CTR and a double for PR. And GamerLegion find a 6th round in another absurd fashion.
Man, Westmelon is going to wake up in the middle of the night with cold sweats, nightmare from that last round. He had that round in the palm of his hand. Like you said, so much damage done. Everybody around 20 or below HP, and he had the key to unlock that. Kormisu did a valiant attempt to hold them at bay and waste a lot of time. But it's that moment where Westmelon goes down to the hands of Towson that this round just fell completely to shreds. 6-0, and it's not that Lynn Vision haven't had chances, but I do agree with you, Anders. It feels like they've been way too reactive rather than proactive, and that will need to change at some point.
Yeah, I mean, this whole front of the map is really worth using on the CT side. Like I said, even just showing up and throwing one grenade, that could be enough to force the T's to check more corners. Look at how they're walking forward here. GamerLegion, this is straight contact. But it also means there's not a single flashbang, and they don't have to because they haven't really run into Lynn Vision all that much here. Now, they're going to get spotted eventually by Emilia, but that's very close to the site. The rotation's already starting to get here. They're worried it's going to be quick, and it will be. Starry going down. GamerLegion walking the whole way, silent. And now a little bit of trouble on the side here of the defense. Kormisu with a stunning double kill. Might turn it around, but PR and Hypex are still alive.
They still have time as well. They don't even have to fully commit. The downside is they don't control the bomb. It's being tossed in as well, and Pierre caught out and long. Zaka with a big pick. Kormisu, though, basically is the MVP of this round. Nice flick from Zaka at the end, and finally Lynn Vision tastes a bit of success. Again, it feels like they're kind of like Icarus, flying too close to the sun, but this time they could feel the burning on the feathers, and they just back away, and they do manage to get the round. But the problem for me, and is always at these stages on the CT side, is can you replicate that? Yeah. It's great to get around, but if you just go down again here to another loss, it is catastrophic.
Well, and to be fair as well, right? Even though that works out for Lynn Vision, it's still a great plan for GamerLegion. You've got to give them a lot of credit for making that work. They were one kill away. I think Kormisu, like you said, the double kill making a big difference, but there was a chance there that they just kill Emilia right afterwards, and even with the double there, it wouldn't have worked out. Some more tricks. This is obviously the other thing that Overpass is famous for those of you who don't know, are the boosts all over the place, but almost catching, I think it was Starry making his way across to long, and now Lynn Vision actually are a bit more forward, so let's see. This is what I was asking for. See if it's actually going to work or not for them. So far, it looks like they're going to avoid any immediate fights, but you can obviously turn that forward push on the CT side into a bit of a lurk. Saka with a missed opportunity, and see if they actually will move forward. So far, they're sticking on long.
And because of how forward he was playing, basically with no cover as far as they're concerned, I think they'll have a good idea as to something like this being a possibility. And that's why we're seeing Rez play at an angle that we've not really seen GamerLegion exploit so far. And at some stage, Lynn Vision, having 3 of their 5 players fully committed over on this site, you're going to have to think about rotating. That kill does the world of good for them. ZTR is able to stand tall and deliver for one. But does he realize the second player is here? Now he will, but it's too little too late. Emilia takes him down. Great opportunity for Lynn Vision to get 2 in a row.
You could see they had no idea that there was a second player over on long, so that was a real sketchy moment. PR trying to get close through the smoke. He wanted the headshot, and he's not going to be able to follow it up there. High ground position for Saka, and he's able to take him down. The bomb is going to make its way here, and honestly, this is a bit weird. They could still get the bomb plant. That is actually a winnable position. 2 versus 4, admittedly. Lynn Vision, though, they've got to be very careful. There's a flank coming in as well. Missed flick from Saka. And so is the same for Hypex on the other side. See if the Holy Shorper could do anything in this one. Towson with a headshot here. Clock running down a bit lower, but now they're on top of them. It's just going to be down to Towson. He's stuck at the back here, looking for another headshot. He's going to get the spray down. He's already saved them once, and now a missed shot from Saka is going to seal the deal. Oh, the clock's running down low. He misses it. 12 bullets left, and another headshot. A stunning clutch coming out from the Dane.
Oh, man, a couple things about that round. First off, Hypex and Towson expertly played around that smoke that was down, taking shots and then retrieving back into the Shroud and Shadows for their reprieve. But secondly, the fact that they only had one flashbang for that retake, as they all come up through the lower angles of Heaven and Bank respectively, was so brutal. Like, you got one flash, you want to throw a HE or a Molotov into one of those cordoned areas like Towson's playing in right now, and they just didn't have the utility to pull it off. And then Towson, a player that we were touching on before, maybe not always going to be towards the top of the scoreboard in terms of his firepower, proving us wrong with an exquisite clutch. And that's got to break the back of Lynn Vision. You finally get success, you're in a 2 versus 4, and it all comes unraveled.
Yeah, that's really, really hard to recover from. They lose everything. They're back to UMP, back to the MP9 on Westmelon. They somehow can afford the AWP on Sakar. I suppose that's good news, but 7-1. The fact that they're on the CT side is, just to reiterate again, supposed to be a CT-sided map, this one, so very interesting stuff. Early grenades towards the L-bend. Again, that's PR. You want it to. Okay, they're going to be throwing out some counter utility, trying to get this boost up and running, but you could see PR wanted to make the same run towards the L-bend like he did earlier. What a setup outside of B this is. With the boost and with Call Me Sue on this side. But the weakness is the Monster Tunnel, which nobody's holding, and somehow GamerLegion have found a crack in the armor here. It's Westmelon going down, Towson to be traded up, but this is worth it. They'll take it, GamerLegion. Now they're going to get a little bit of a Molotov towards the L-bend, and it should give some space for a bomb plant, and most especially when Saka goes down to Hypex.
And probably a save. The money's garbage. What do you realistically do? I mean, at some point, Lynn Vision have to realize to throw caution to the wind. Saving for the rest of this half is not going to be good enough. You've got to get more than one round. They're still in with a fight of this one, but the fact that they have no kits and a flash between the two of them, and also unknown quantities as to where GamerLegion are currently hiding, there's a lot that's going against them. The good news, though, is that they still haven't planted the bomb as of yet, and that's one hell of a wide swing. Call Me Sue, keeping this round, keeping this map alive, as he spots the head protruding up, but it's the check of PR that will body him out of this. And now Starry, a man on fire against MIBR, has to try and clutch, preemptively anticipates a repeat from the water side, but that's not where PR any longer sits. But the spray completely comes apart, and Starry will clutch, giving Lynn Vision another lifeline.
Oh, that is such a needed round. They absolutely had to pick that up. You could see the chaos there for GamerLegion, even in the 1v2 against Starry. They don't know where he is because they take down Call Me Sue. They knew that he was at the L-bend, but they just didn't have the correct labeling for where Starry was, unfortunately, so they had no idea about that first kill. Very close round once again. If Lynn Vision have any dreams of getting back into this game, then they do need to win the rest of the rounds, I think, here in the first half. And then it's possible. It's not great, but definitely still something to fight for here. So 7-2. A very nice clutch, and honestly, look at the money already. In spite of being this far ahead, GamerLegion suffering some early money problems.
Yeah, we've seen a few rounds where even though they have picked it up, it's been kind of clutches, like the Towson play. Then you look at that round 2 as well, and it has kind of caught up with them, as you say. But they're still going to be a threat. They still have 3 AKs, or pardon me, 2 AKs with 3 Tech 9s. So GamerLegion, who have, for the most part, favored over on this B side of the map, just going to be sitting and waiting, letting the CTs expend their utility. They do have a flash, a couple of smokes as well, can cordon off Heaven. But I wonder if they'll just go through here dry without any smokes and try and catch them off guard, Anders. That could be a play they go for here, but Lynn Vision are not falling for it. They're stacking 4 players still on B side, even they've got no intel on A whatsoever.
Yeah, it's, you know, it takes a bit of faith, I suppose. I was wondering about the silent walkthrough as well, because Towson's kind of out of position to try and do anything with the flashbang, but he could, I suppose, just join the rest of the team in a second or two. But yeah, there we go. There's the deep flash, one that they had in the back pocket. It doesn't really hit anybody, it seems. Call Me Sue's going to get traded up, but Westmelon doing the best work that he could have done there. Big double kill for him. Rez trying to answer back in at range. No head armor on Emilia. I forgot to think, because that Tech 9 just completely destroyed him, and now Sakura up at the high ground here. They're all so low on health, but when he's got the AWP, it probably doesn't matter that much. So Lynn Vision in absolute torment here, just winning the casual round here or there, but never able to roll more of them together.
Yeah, it's been such a turbulent half, hasn't it? Like, hope has been present a couple of rounds, and then it's just snatched away from GamerLegion. Some really good calling, has to be said, and some shots that maybe should be connecting more so. Westmelon gets 2 in this round, but he'll feel like he probably should have got the 3rd, and that very well could have put this round to bed. Instead, 8-2 the score. Another save for Zaka at least is going to keep that AWP alive, but it's not great money apart from that, is it really? I mean, 4K for Call Me Sue, a few players on 3K, but just nothing that you'd be comfortable about.
I mean, the flashbang itself just was so unimpressive, but the follow-up, obviously, great shot coming out here from Rez, and the follow-up tapping away at Starry was absolutely brilliant work. 20 seconds again left there in the round, but Lynn Vision unable to hold the B bomb site. That is an experience I think a lot of people are used to, though. Somehow it's very hard to hold this B site, to be honest, even if you have a lot of people there. This time they've brought in the AWP, and everybody else, they've practically stacked 5 people if you count the connector here. They're at least all playing on the B side of the map just to be absolutely sure. And I mean, I think that's more than anything a sign of slight desperation coming out here from Lynn Vision, but hey, if it works, then we're not going to be too critical. They take down PR at the beginning, so that will net them some advantage in the round, I suppose. CTR very close. Westmelon, he walks right into the crosshair. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, I wanted to find intel if they'd actually rotated up on the connector side, but at this time, it does feel a little bit of an odd decision. I don't know if he was maybe, you know, went full goblin mode and was trying to get the dropped weapon from PR desperately, but it's completely backfired. Because, I mean, even if you find out the intel they're going up connector, there's still a minute left on the clock. Like, that information has a sell-by date. The expiry date's incredibly quick. So just kind of puts this back into favor of GamerLegion again.
Yeah, bomb's been picked up here. Pretty nice smoke, I suppose, to slow them down, see if they can play in front of it. Starry moving up by the bench. Amelia. It could just be that you sacrifice Starry and then you hope they just don't even think about Amelia being on the other side, so you kind of just power on through, but they flash their way into it. Honestly, great work. The USP for the first one. CTR fighting back, but there's just 20 seconds left here, and oh, if he hits that shot, it's over. I think the round is dead in its tracks. The bombs get it back to the B bomb side. Oh no! Call Me Sue! Making a big assumption that they were going to finish at the A bomb site, and now Saka once again alone up here. He knows that he is pretty much sandwiched in. Oh no, Vince! Please say it isn't so.
Oh, it is. It is so. Oh, there's many things that you can see from this guy that just seem to defy the odds, but you will not defy gravity. That is a constant. Oh man.
Yeah, that's really rough. And also really funny. Oh no, I was so shocked. That actually could have been kind of a sick attempt at a 1v2, but obviously, just like you said, gravity, you know, it's a rough thing, isn't it?
And the worst part is as well, is like just previously in that round, like you said, he took a shot. It looked like to me it could have been on, but misses, and it changed the entire dynamic. The player that rotates up connector would not have had to have been that quick if that shot lands. It changed everything. That domino effect was brutal.
9-2. PR opening up on this one. He's been loving these advanced pushes into that sewer area. Something I really note. Great to have a player like that who has the specialty to do it. Call Me Sue, hiding in the smoke. Also the last line of defense at the B-bomb site, and he's straight dead. Walks up with his side turned. CTR able to pick up the kill. Man, I mentioned that CTR and Towson are the two, you know, more unreliable players in the team for me, but they're both playing really well at the moment. CTR's got a 13-6 scoreline. Now he's picked up an AWP for some reason. Not even really needed. PR hitting more headshots. What an absolutely ridiculous first half in favor of GamerLegion.
Yeah, about as one-sided as it gets, isn't it, really? And I mean, we also said, to be fair, we said they're normally sort of the core, the spine of the team. They allow other players to flourish, but I've got to say, GamerLegion played a really good half. They take nothing away from them. Lynn Vision had a lot of questionable decision-making, though. Especially, as we said before, like these weird short pushes into sewers, it did reek of a team that was desperate. They were not proactive enough when they had weapons, and then when they were in these half-buy sort of eco rounds, then they were playing aggressively, but that's just way too obvious. Like, you can read it so easily, because GamerLegion just sat back saying, come on then, like, push into us, and they did almost every single time.
Yeah, you could just tell here the No flashes going over. It's way too many people getting caught out in the open. It's a brutal first half. There's no question about it. It wasn't even clear to me exactly what the game plan was, but I felt like they fell victim to a lot of the... Like, since Overpass came back into the map pool, there's something that I've seen a lot. A lot of people have forgotten how to use the front of the A side and even the connector. Like, a lot of the CT sides are just so confused about how to play that side of the map. And then obviously the other problem, which honestly I'm not even sure how to fix, but holding that B bomb side is just so hard. Like, we saw it in some of these rounds. Even when you have 3 or 4 people there, it can still be hard to hold on the B. So I don't really blame Lynn Vision for that, but it is annoying and it's frustrating. Second half coming up now. Of course, it is only the first map in this series. It's a best of 3 now. A lot on the line. Everything on the line, you might even say. Lynn Vision here, they need this pistol round badly.
Yeah, and quite simply put, both teams have already suffered defeat today. So you lose this game and you are eliminated.
Yeah. Is not what you want to experience early on. GamerLegion basically giving up on long, and Lynn Vision have made this entire walk without even getting spotted. Now they're going to be throwing in the smokes, the Molotovs and everything else, but honestly, if Rez can just get... Oh, nice smoke to make sure that they're not going to get shut down there. So otherwise, I was going to say, if he gets 1 kill, at least they're on. They're going to keep running. Finally, the bomb does go down. I was going to say, are they going to keep running into B? They won't do that, but they've planted on the bank side of things.
And they've stacked it with 4 players. Like, what a strange decision again from Lynn Vision. I get it, the strength in numbers, but you're also giving up so much of the sight and so much intel in terms of rotations. Fortunately, Call Me Sudo's going to put that Glock to range where it is going to shine its brightest, and that's up close and personal. And those Julies are sent packing as well. ZTR, who's had a great first half, is able to carve a path through 2 more skulls, but time is way too low. Lovely shot from Rez, as they're going to have to try and get to this bomb site right here, right now, and I just don't think there's enough time. Even with Rez landing a ton of headshots and making it look stylish in the process, this round is done. Lynn Vision take the second pistol.
Yeah, I like that. I was going to say the other real threat that was in that round is just you don't necessarily know if there was going to be a smoke diffuse, and if you're all on the bank, that could just be very awkward. But I guess the upside is they got so many kills right at the end there, and with the new sort of money bonus system, look at what they have. Double Scout, MP9s, and the FAMAS. So a huge buy in the second round here for GamerLegion. That's kind of sick.
And you remain clairvoyant, Anders, because you touched on whether Lynn Vision might go for this when they lost the first round, right? Like, you were talking about, will I go for double scout? Well,
it's great.
GamerLegion certainly agree with it.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, you could look at this is, I think, the thing that really distinguishes Overpass is it's such a giant map, which some people hate, but I do like it for a couple of reasons, and certainly one of them is the fact that you can use these scope weapons, to way more efficiency. So a lot of fun to see. We'll see if Lynn Vision are going to fall into the trap of slow playing it against the scouts. No tag on that one. Nice flash to set it up, and just waiting. Emilia here, not aware that there was someone right on the other side. Let's see if they throw another flashbang to get through. They certainly have one on Starry, but it's going to be Saka to set up this one. Straight on through. Good headshot on the FAMAS. If Emilia goes down, it could be the beginning of the end. 3 versus 3.
This is also wasting a lot of time and resources that Lynn Vision have to try and deal with this pesky, annoying rat in the favor of Rez, and he continues to lay down the hammer. 3 kills individually, above and beyond what could have possibly be called upon, but it is a rotational kill for Call Me Sue onto Towson, who tried to scarper back into connector. He's been caught. More than enough time for the plant as well. And our Hypex with his scout is going to have to try and show us what he's got up his sleeve. But instead, he gets nailed from Call Me Sue's AK. Great effort from Rez, though.
It really was. 3 kills from that position. And Towson, we were talking about Call Me Sue making a bit of an assumption in the first half, running through the connector with a knife out. Towson making... Again, it's hard to say that it was a mistake because I was just saying how big the map is. That also means that sometimes the CTs have to be kind of running across the map for some distance because you're so far away, and he definitely thought that they were both going to be on the A side of the map there. So yeah, it is what it is. Nice round for Lynn Vision. They needed it very badly. They haven't really got started here. Obviously both teams have lost their first maps, but none of them really got that many rounds, especially Lynn Vision kind of got blown up in that first game. So they need to win some rounds. They haven't really done too much yet. It's not too late, though, to turn it around. Oh, dear. I say that as Rez lands a double kill in the connector with just a 5-7.
I know he's got a Galil.
Why?
Oh dear, and he lost 23 HP in the process. That is a complete and utter mess. Lynn Vision immediately have to start backing away, and it's also the bomb that gets dropped. In fact, pardon me, it's not the bomb. A Molotov was placed down there, so they don't know where the bomb is, but still that two-player advantage.
Yeah, I mean, it's rough to deal with, especially because you're going through them at some of these choke points, which is fine if you've got the man advantage and the utility to go with it, but they are worried at the moment. Stack going up. They're actually preemptively stacking the A-bomb side with a bit of a boost going over, and just trusting that if anyone shows up here, CTR will be in a position to slow them down. It's a big ask. There's the shadow showing. Oh, he's waited. He's just played it perfectly. Waited just long enough. There's going to be about 16 seconds on the clock when the smoke expires. That's not something they can afford. They have to go through.
Oh, he changes up his angles and gets the kill, and that could be good enough as the Deagle now is afforded the luxury of rattling off a few shots, and Towson will oblige as he takes down both players, and GamerLegion once again break the hearts of Lynn.
That's really remarkable. Obviously, credit to Towson and I guess for Rez to getting those opening kills, but honestly, the timing with the smoke there was really expertly played. There would have been so little time when it faded that I don't think there was much of a choice, and CTR, just that one kill on the smoke is, I think, perhaps as impactful as the rest of what GamerLegion were doing there. So 11-4, and I don't know. There's only so many times that we can spin up the dream of what it would take for Lynn Vision to make a bit of a comeback. I feel like they're losing every significant round where they might have an advantage, where there might be a way back in. They somehow find a way to throw it away, so that's pretty shocking. I guess it is the pick of GamerLegion, so that's at least something, but I don't know. This is the fact that Train is the second map is just such a head-scratching situation in itself, so I don't know what to even make of it. I don't even know if it's an advantage for Lynn Vision that's where we're going.
I'd say the way they're playing right now, Anders, I don't think it is, because Train's another map where you need to be proactive, need to be confident, and I've just not seen that from Lynn Vision whatsoever. Like you say, they're almost their own worst enemies here. Like, sure, Rez is playing incredibly well, but he gets 2 kills with the 5-7 without any trades, flashes, or HGs on him, really? Like, a lot of weird things going on. PR, though, will trade back. It does stagnate that push with a Molotov, well placed. Lynn Vision instantly have to just back away.
Yeah, and it's a long way to rotate back, obviously. No one's really found out just yet. So GamerLegion, that's maybe the one thing you could say is because of the smoke in the monster tunnel, they don't really know for sure if Lynn Vision are just waiting outside of B or if they really rotated all the way back. But you know what? It doesn't even matter. Somehow they're still making a great call here. This is fantastic mid-rounding from the side of GamerLegion. You can see they're already pulling back far enough that they're going to be quick with the rotation. And now they're sending out Rez to really find the information so that they can be even faster if anything happens. They don't quite have 3 on the A-bomb side, but yeah, this is a big tell already. They find Amelia out on long. And with 45 seconds here, Rez gets this shot. He doesn't. Saka, nicely done with the crosshair placement. That's going to give them a bit of a chance.
It will. Lifeline has been flung out. Need to grab onto it with both arms right now. Hypex is kind of his back against the wall as grenades start to rain down. 2 players strong. It's going to be a bait and switch. Oh, that's the player pushing in first, and he does have the bomb, and Hypex is going to put down another 2 behind it. Showing why Ash has full faith in him, as do GamerLegion, and they move to a 12-4 lead.
Those are some really interesting shots. I feel like, sure, the first one on the Amelia, that's probably a little bit of a free kill, but the follow-up was fantastic. And even hiding, yeah, so that one's kind of a free. He actually spots a second player. We didn't see that the first time around, so yeah, they definitely knew that it was going to be an A attack. But the fact that he got 4 kills in the round, wow, that is so shocking. As if they weren't already winning. They didn't even need Hypex to do this, but now at 12-4, Lynn Vision completely getting crushed in the opening map here against GamerLegion. I'm just so impressed.
And this would be back-to-back 13-4 defeats.
Yeah, you're right.
After losing Nuke. Yeah, they will have another shot, obviously, with Train. This is a best of 3 if you have just joined us. But it is an elimination game. Lower bracket matchup in Group A. Everybody, as you just highlighted, Anders, with that 4K on Hypex, now double digits in terms of frag count. Only Call Me Sue is at that accolade for Lynn Vision. As again, the utility has been so on point from GamerLegion. Their timing, impeccable.
look at the forward position for Rez here. This is one of the things I was asking about why Vision didn't do this so much on their own CT side, and it's risky, but look at what it affords them. A 4-man stack at the B-bomb side, although the flashes and the running Tech9 actually kind of, for a minute at least, looking to overpower the bomb site here. Ipex peeking into it. I don't think he needed to do that. Ends up going down to Amelia and Rez on a bit of a mission to try and see if he can maybe shock them one last time. 1 versus 2 here. It's winnable. He's got the smoke. No kit picked up at the moment, but there should be one on the ground, presumably. Gonna throw around that grenade and checking to see if they're coming for him, which they absolutely are. Saka dinked to the face, but he still manages to live right through that one. So that is another example of why the B-bomb side's so hard to hold. They had 4 people there. The whole defense was centered around the idea of stopping any kind of a B rush, and it still worked out just fine for Vision.
Yeah, Vision giving GamerLegion a taste of their own medicine. How many times have we seen these kind of executes work out for GamerLegion when the roles were reversed? So starting to feel that way themselves, and like you say, the flash is really on point. I love that Rez made this call, by the way. His game sense is incredible. It's one of his strongest suits. Sure, his aim is good, but he always seems to have the right position, the right reads. As this time a Molotov will go down to deal with Rez's position where he had that double 5-7 kill earlier on. He did drop across a weapon as well. In terms of the economy, it's looking pretty bleak on GamerLegion. This would be effectively a 2-for-1 round, you'd have to think, for Vision's perspective, if they were to pick it up, but that's a big if.
Yeah, I mean, there's a story about making a comeback that could be possible if they get the next 2 in a row. That's something interesting to think about. Utility is also dropping a bit low there on the CT side. It's not disastrous yet, but there is a world in which they could end up hurting for some grenades later on. They flash their way into this position. I don't hate it, but when you check this part of the map with flashes like that, you are also giving away some information. So it's more safe, but it also does telegraph what you're doing a bit more. Hypex goes down, and that was actually the AWP, so a bit unfortunate perhaps. Starry making his way across right into the grenade here in Amelia. That's a very awkward battle to take. CTR's flashed out, though it's still a 3 versus 4.
Yeah, and Rez staying alive right now just outside the bathrooms is huge because they can try and get a crossfire in. PR just needs to save himself for a few more moments. Allow Rez to activate, and that's what happens. A nuke goes off on the site, and it's Rez that presses the button. And now Call Me Sue, try as he may, gets the first frag, but it's at heavy cost to his life, and time is low. A stray bullet will seal the deal, and GamerLegion get it done. Rez with a phenomenal CT side.
Those are some disgusting mechanics coming out from the Swedish player, I must say. Very, very impressed. The first kill, fair enough, but the one that he got on the guy jumping up in the box, that is something else. So, yeah, Counter-Strike. Here we go. Looks like we are just about ready to get into the second map. It's on Train. I do love Train. I still have some concerns that the Ivy part of the map is still a bit weird in the current sort of version of the map. But I've hoped that it could be, you know, a couple of small fixes, and I think we're almost there.
Yeah, I'm kind of torn as well on Train. I love the old school Train. I think it's an adjustment period, you know, like often when things start to change, it can be a bit of a shock to the system. But we are ready to jump into this one. This time, Vision on the T side and GamerLegion occupying the CT side. And we do have a pair of Julies in for Towson as well.
Ooh, some nice grenades to begin with, trying to really soften up the GamerLegion side as much as you can. Saka making a bit of a run for it here, and Call Me Sue actually going to be traded out there 1 for 1. Starry and CTR both going down, and bomb being attempted. Actually, this is great work. They've planted the bomb on the connector side, and now they're in the C connector themselves, so this should be a very, very strong position for Vision. I think a retake here would be almost impossible for GamerLegion unless they can land some stunning headshots, and PR certainly giving it his best shot at doing that, but they're just ducking and diving down. They're playing in front of the connector, and they will find a way. Call Me Sue with 3 kills. I'm a bit confused that Vision actually running out of the connector again once they already planted the bomb in that position, but fair play to them. Again, it worked.
It did work. There were a couple of opportunities for GamerLegion, like I say, PR, who was trying to buy time as well for Towson to put those Julies to work. Didn't quite work out, but it is the perfect start for Vision. You know, at the end of the day, they're in an elimination map right now. They've only played 2 maps in their entire tournament up until this point. They've both been stomps. So slow start is one thing, but how are you going to recover? How are you going to bounce back from that? Keep the CTs at arm's reach. It's going to be a force buy. We see GamerLegion go for this more often than not. This time, not the double scouts like we saw on Overpass, but Hypex does have himself one. So need to tread lightly.
Yeah, always a potential risk that you could be tagged up with it. I feel like the scouts, it's rare that we get to see sort of serial headshots in a round. It can happen, but I think if you just get about a couple of leg shots even with it, that's where things get real uncomfortable for the T side. So identifying that that's happening and that's kind of making a call from there on out is certainly the way to go. 3 people stacked at the B bomb site. That is obviously way more than you'd normally see in a regular round of Counter-Strike, but for a round like this one, it does make a lot of sense. And it actually could be a spectacular play. We'll see if they have the utility. This position can be Molotoved out, and so can almost everything else on the map. So looks like they're going to be Molotoving way deeper than that, though. So PR should be in a strong position. There'll probably be the flashbangs that'll have to do it here. That one's going to go behind him instead, so he's still pretty safe here. Double setup is there, but the flash is amazing. That absolutely wrecked everybody on the site. PR, he's been hurt. They know that he's back here somewhere. You can see them looking already. Starry's going to be the one to take him down, and they're even delaying the bomb plant. They wanted to make sure they found everyone before they even go for it. But that flashbang, I think, is the real MVP of the round.
Yeah, it was beautifully placed, like you said. It wrecked PR's position. He had to back away into the Molotov that was thrown behind him as well. So he took a ton of damage from that one and played no real part in the round. And I think as soon as they heard the singeing of feet on top of the train, they had a good idea to it being a stack, and they were doing their due diligence, like you said, stalling for the bomb plant, making sure that all the angles were covered and cleared out. And now Rez and Hypex have the arduous task of trying to hold on to these 2 weapons. Hypex is going to be able to take the one player down, but that's all that will go the way of GamerLegion into this. Lynn Vision with a very convincing 2-0 start, and although a couple players were low, they maintained the bulk of their rifles in a very good spot right now. And GamerLegion, they're down to basically peanuts. They got nothing left in the tank.
Yeah, good work. Really good work. A lot of utility expended on that B bomb side the previous round, but they managed to break through in spite of walking into at least a bit of a stack, so it could have been awkward, but it wasn't. Round number 3 and single smoke on CTR. Don't expect anything super crazy here. Just, you know, finding a kill, finding a rifle, maybe that would be the real big upside. Shouldn't be closer than that, especially because you got so many Galils and Mac 10s here that you should have every advantage in taking a fight against these unarmored opponents. Rez, slightly forward position, but again, it's such a common position that it should get checked one way or another here. But so far, they are walking up like they're not expecting it. So he might get a free kill for Misu. Nah, there we go. It's good work.
Yeah, and he was too busy watching the exit point because he had a teammate behind him watching that close angle until it did shift positions. It's a great deagle, though. It's going to force Corbin Swan to the open. This is so aggressive, and it gets punished. There was no flashes or anything alongside it. Oh, that was such a weird decision, and they're going to get punished for this so hard from Towson's deagle, who just goes and removes every single head.
What just happened? Towson with 4 kills. But you're absolutely right, though. They did not need... There was no reason they had to run through the smoke with nothing else. Sure, maybe if things go super well and you run through that smoke, you find a kill on a USP or a deagle. Who cares? Why is it interesting to you? Why not just keep the round alive? That is so devastating. They upgrade into 1 AK, 2 Galils, they buy the AWP and the M4, and suddenly GamerLegion straight back in the mix with even a lot of money in the bank even behind this one. Oh, that is such a ridiculous call, unfortunately.
I think he was assuming that the main push was going in kind of synchronized together, but it was slightly too slow. So there was no pressure being applied from the other side of the site, allowing all the CTs to stand at E-box and effectively just put bullets down range. But they just got to shake it off.
Yeah.
They're going to get straight back into this one. It's not going to be easy, and they're now in a bit of a rough position themselves. A Tech 9 alongside 4 Galils.
Towson's contribution so far has been pretty epic across the 2 maps, but this one, that probably takes the cake for the minute here. That is such ridiculous deagle shots coming out. We'd love to see that whole round from his point of view. Maybe go back and watch it later ourselves, but nice grenade as they try to set up for a bit of an execute. There's again 3 people here which is a lot more than you would be expecting in this kind of a round. Very interesting.
Yeah, it's not orthodox, is it? It's not what you'd normally see.
No.
PR is going to block that smoke. I think it's still going to plume because of the volumetric elements of it anyway. And Towson flashed off, but able now to open up with the Galil. Bit of a rice spray, but we'll get the one. Beautiful entry from Zaka, though, is keeping this round alive. Watermelon low, going to get up close and try and hide behind the smoke. Long-range tapping. PR comes in second place, and Zaka from strength to strength, from frag to frag. And Hypex stuck behind the smoke, and nothing really to say about it. Has opened up his account. But this is where Westmelon's position could be massive. He gets spotted. Oh, the USP, though, is going to let Hypex down. How is he still alive? But then lands a beautiful flick afterwards. And Zaka's getting up close. He wants his fourth frag. All the pressure, though, is on Hypex. He has to go and try and deal with this bomb. And he almost flicks across. But Zaka's too fast on the draw for his 4K.
I can't believe it. That is another nutty round, to be honest. Zaka with the 4K. I thought for sure they had that lockdown on the B-bomb side. I was not even there was no doubt in my mind that that was going to work out, but somehow they just couldn't land the shots as they came down the B ramp towards the sidewalk there. I'm really surprised by that. Lynn Vision, I feel like they should have had no chance after losing the first fight there, but yeah, well played, well turned around, and yeah, it's a surprising round. Match has been paused in the meantime. I'm guessing everyone needs a deep breath after that one, but well played on the T side.
Yeah, it's almost like doubly damning, right? Because you stack the bomb site on B, you have this crazy, really good call, and then you just get obliterated by Zaka running out with a Galil and just removing heads left and right. And it was a bit weird as well, because I think PR is one of those players you look at on this GamerLegion side and you think his mechanics are really solid. He's a really good player, super confident. The way he wide swung there and just got completely obliterated without really doing any damage was a little bit concerning for me. I don't know if it's a case of maybe not being as confident on this map and feeling like you have to snatch an opportunity and try and desperately make something happen, but it completely backfires.
And they also had a third position, right? That was by that elevated boost up at the hut on the B-bomb side, and typically that position is just so crazy strong for the CT side. It's a real pet peeve of mine that no T teams want to learn how to Molotov that position, because you absolutely can from the T high ground. You can throw Molotovs over the hut that land and burn out that entire plateau on the CT side. It's relatively trivial, I would say, to do it, but nobody is learning how to do it, and a lot of teams lose attacks towards B just to that position, but they just erected. It was, again, Zaka coming through with a bit of a whirlwind of a round over at the B site. It's pretty sick stuff. 7-2 on him individually, but Lynn Vision, I mean, listen, if you're going to throw away the other round, then at least win this one back. I mean, that kind of evens things out, I suppose.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt, because it was a real good opportunity for GamerLegion to establish their economy early on in this half and kind of start to run away with a pretty significant lead. So this really does like tug back at them and force them to be a little bit more honest with their future buys. And you can see in this round, it's not going to be anything spectacular. You got an MP9 Deagle in play, although definitely hold the phone with Towson's Deagle. He got a 4K a couple of rounds ago from E-Box, which was disgusting. So I'm not going to write him off. But yeah, I mean, this is exactly what we wanted from a neutral's perspective, though, right? Like, after a very stompy first couple of maps that Lynn Vision have played in this tournament, important for them to get off to a good start here and show us what they're capable of. Because it would be a real shame, you know, in the CAC, if Lynn Vision were one of the first teams to get eliminated and just basically went out with a whimper. We want to see more from them. Yeah,
that is true. And I mean, that could even be kind of another line of conversation that's worth having at some point. Is just the added pressure, I think, for Chinese teams who are playing in China. I think is definitely something that is felt, and I'm sure they feel it too. Whereas I think in the past, maybe the pressure was almost somewhat less because the expectation wasn't that they were going to be playing super well. But I would say teams like TYLOO and Lynn Vision right now, we know they have the capability to shock even really high-level teams. So probably now more than ever, there is an expectation that they're going to be able to make the playoffs and really be out there in front of the crowd, which I'm sure that, you know, it's been a long time coming, I would say, for Chinese Counter-Strike, but I could see a world in which, you know, the next couple of years will have a real real sort of real turnaround in the region just because of that alone. I can't remember for the PGL, for the Shanghai Major, I can't remember how many Chinese teams it was that signed up, but it was some ridiculous number, like 3,000 or something, that tried to sign up to play for the qualifiers in China. It was absolutely mental. So the game is definitely experiencing a bit of a growth in the region, and partly obviously that is because, for those of you who don't know, Perfect World is the distributor of Counter-Strike in China. And they've been running the CAC for a really long time, and I think slowly but surely the whole project is kind of coming together. I feel like we're actually for the first time seeing real traction for the game in the region, which is super sick.
Well, absolutely, and you know, if Asian CS were to explode and get a lot more popularity, then that's only a net positive, in my opinion, for Counter-Strike overall.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like having way more Asian teams, having way more tournaments over in Asia, just generally, not just China, but just Asia at large, would be massive. And when you think of how big, and obviously we're talking over this round because there's obviously tech issues and they're going to be going through match medic, etc. But when you think of games like, you know, League of Legends, Dota 2, etc., the amount of Asian teams there that are not just taking part but also dominant at times really does kind of elevate those esports to that next level. So if CS gets something like that, then all the better for it.
Well, and the thing that's always kind of sold me, because I had such an early experience going to Beijing for it's called the MSI Beat It back then in 2013, I think it was, and I remember there were so many fans that were there to basically see, you know, some of the Swedish superstar players that we had at the tournament at the time. They, like, and even though I think NIP wasn't at that event, if I'm not mistaken, but regardless, there were a lot of players there who had been watching Forest and Get Right since back in 1.6 and all the rest of it. I just thought, like, this is so cool. They actually there's really a real culture of people who care about the game and remember the old days and all the rest of it. So there's definitely like a long history just in China alone for people caring about Counter-Strike, and I'm sure that with a little bit of effort, a little bit of success here and there, it could be spiraled into something way more.
I think it was Nico that was talking about this fairly recently as well, and I know some of the FaZe players have discussed this in the past, like how incredible the support is over there. Like you go over to one of these Chinese events or one of the Asian events, and you don't necessarily expect to be recognized that much, but these players were all talking about like how huge the lines were for meet and greets, and like just generally how often they were recognized. So it is really cool to see that CS is very much alive and well. And this is another reason to go back, why it would be such a shame if Lynn Vision went out in such a sad sort of way, because players of this stature, TYLOO, Lynn Vision, the other Chinese teams, when they perform at the level we saw at Austin Major, that is inspiring the next generation of players. Yeah. That is getting those 12, 15-year-olds that are currently like playing CS for fun, realizing, no, this is actually something that's attainable. This is a dream that I can go for. They feel motivated. They feel inspired by these things. So it's always great to see these teams like performing well, especially at tournaments, like you said, that's effectively on Chinese soil. There's even more pressure there for these guys to try and contend with.
Yeah, I really think so, but we'll see if they can kind of outperform that pressure a little bit. I feel like at the moment, having won that last round with Saka and the quad kill, that's kind of how we exited into this tech pause here. That should be a big turnaround moment. And again, just to say how they got into this trouble to begin with was that one round where Call Me Sue run to the smoke, and I saw them make these kind of calls at the major too, and I felt like I kept thinking all throughout the major, I thought, this is it, like, it's going to backfire. It's too much, you know? I still think that there is something to be gained for Lynn Vision in not playing quite that aggressively, but speaking of aggression, they are already out by the all-of position. Call Me Sue traded out, but at least he got the one kill there, kind of run down by the MP9s.
That's a good opening pick, though, if you're on GamerLegion. Able to try and take a little bit of control of the map. You have started to lose A, though, as a T spill out on red. As ETR backs away into connector, he is effectively allowing Hypex to maybe have a little bit of impact here. As damage being inflicted to Starry. Rotation now coming through from the CT side. The bomb's still yet to be planted as well. That could be a problem for the Ts.
Yeah, they are really making sure. This was happening earlier on B. They want to make sure that there's nobody hiding in a corner somewhere. Saka might just be a free kill, and it will be res to go down. And honestly, you might just want to save the M4 and the AWP here if you're on the GamerLegion side. There's still a lot of the half to be played for, so I don't think giving away these weapons is a good idea. It could have been fun if somebody had walked into Hypex before Rez went down. That could have really changed the round, I think. But yeah, nice work for Vision. The early pressure and then the slowdown once they actually get to the bomb side. I don't hate it. I think it's a nice way to play. So good job.
Yeah, they had so much time left. Like, the reason why I was a bit concerned about them not getting the bomb planted is effectively you have 4 players from multiple angles that can come in. And in the chaos of trying to get the bomb down, if you get peaked at the wrong time, that's where the round can just completely erupt from you. So, like you said, though, they had good angles, good awareness, and they do factor it into a 4-1 lead. But GamerLegion, as you highlighted, they're not going to be playing with their money too much. They decide to save, so they will have a couple of threats in the form of Hypex and ZTR to contend with here.
Well, round number 6. Still pretty sketchy when it comes to the money for GamerLegion, unfortunately. So, going to be down to that saved. Oh, well, it was AWP trying to push up the ramp. Hypex. I feel like doing that is probably no longer worth it because the standard utility there for the T side has been so well established now. In the beginning, it was just the Molotov, but then the CT started to throw smokes, and then it turned into this, you know, grenade bombardment where it's Molotovs into double HE, and it feels like there are almost no rounds left where you can actually go for that push, but they're going to at least save the AWP for now on 1000.
ZTR, as you can see from the observer, is boosted up onto the box outside Long Dog, and I'm not sure Kulmisu's going to be aware of this. I mean, you can see through the panes of window on the glass that no player is currently peeking around that corner. And this allows them to keep 3 players over on this side. It's effectively a gamble at this point. Like you say, they're going to be holding on to that AWP for Towson. And he has it on the B side. Smokes and Molly's now being put down. 40 seconds left on the clock, and it is going to yield a bit of success. ZTR gets his man. They back away.
Yeah, and I think they can feel, or they should be able to feel, that there's nobody else coming out towards that A yard at the moment. Might all come down to whether or not Towson can do it. He's done it with a Deagle in the past, and great with the rifles. Now with the AWP as well, sniping long range and taking down Westmelon. This is very awkward. The bomb is on the site, but they need a bit more control before they can really plant it. Saka's got to be careful. He goes down. Towson, he's doing it all right now in this game. Back to his trusted Deagle, looking for another headshot. It's going to be CTR to drop Starry, and Amelia is so far away. I don't think he could do much here, unfortunately. There is a way to stop that bomb defuse, but he's so far from it. Had the Molotov in the back pocket, so I thought there was a chance that maybe he could go for some crazy lineup, but that's not going to happen. GamerLegion, they steal another round that they probably should have had no business winning.
Yeah, and it was kind of interesting as well, because they threw a smoke and Molotov and then they did nothing really with it. I don't know if they were anticipating a rotation and they were going to try and shut down like a push around the back. I think that's what Kulmisu was looking for, right? Like, he was in Pop Dog and didn't expect ZTR to be watching that angle passively. So I think they may have expected a rotation to come through around the back of Brown Halls, but instead it's just completely backfired for them. Gotta say though, well played for Towson. Like, he was so dialed in, so disciplined, just sitting with that AWP way back, not falling for any rotational plays, just wants to make sure he can nail that first shot, and then the entire dynamic of the round shifted abruptly away from Vision. So, yeah, kind of a shock to the system. Back to reality with a bang for Vision. You can't take anything for granted on this T side.
Yeah, and maybe just worth highlighting as well, they are on the T side, and typically that's where a lot of teams are struggling quite a lot. Even people that love playing Train, we see them just sometimes have almost no impact on the T side, so maybe that's just worth taking into account. The fact that it's already this 4-2 scoreline is probably not that bad. Failed Molotov, I think, for Vision, kind of hilarious, but there's nobody there on the CT side to really capitalize on it. I don't know how they would have known anyway, so they're just going to be slowly taking over the hallways here. But yeah, this next round I think is critical for GamerLegion. If they want to have more of an impact on Train, I think they need to win this next one. Then they're going to have pretty much a free round afterwards, because the money's going to be low on Vision. So it's all kind of laid out for them. There's a path back into this game, but I think this round is the real swing round for them.
The amount of team flashes here for Vision, this has not been a smooth, clean take at all.
Failed Molotovs into team flashes.
Yeah. I think Gum, their coach, should be sat back like pulling his hair out right now watching some of these moments, but they're not going to get punished for it for the time being. They have expended quite a lot of util though, and they only have 2 smokes left to execute with flashes and a couple of Molotovs as well. Let's see what they do with it. We already saw a couple of perfectly placed flashes previously. Zach has got the lineup for outside main.
I hate the time that's left here. Rez has an incendiary that is holding over at the B site. If they just execute A right now and he saves the incendiary and runs back to A, he could probably stop the bomb plant on his own just with that grenade. It's going to be Hypex to begin with. Might not even need the grenade at this stage. 18 seconds on the clock, and they're trying to get around the E-box. Great headshot to follow through. And Rez right here on top. 10 seconds left. There's the incendiary, but it's a bit late. He's trying to bounce it in there. I think if he was quicker, that could have absolutely worked to seal the round. But instead, it's a 2 versus 3. And GamerLegion, they might have to back away from this one. Unfortunately, they don't really have the cash, and it's just unlikely they can make it out of the connector.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it was PR or not, but the player that was at the sort of con side of A side just needed to stay alive there, just needed to desperately waste a little bit more time to allow the luxury of that fast track connector rotation. Like you say, as soon as he dies, it's such an easy angle to watch. You got multiple angles to watch from, and there's no real way forward for GamerLegion. You're effectively just running into machine gun fire. You're not going to survive. So that, for me, was the turning point on that round, and it looked good for GamerLegion. I agree with you. The amount of time left, it did not give Lynn Vision any room for error.
Yeah, I didn't necessarily love the strategy for Lynn Vision, but I think you're probably right. Unfortunately, some of the fights there for GamerLegion, once the clock was that low, once they had the advantage, just fall back and let him try and plant the bomb. Even if they plant the bomb, who cares? You can probably retake it after that, but didn't work out that way. And it could be, again, another sign that GamerLegion, as we came into the map kind of knowing, they don't feel super comfortable on this map. It's not like they absolutely love it, so it's not too surprising, I suppose. Is that another friendly HE? I think they named themselves. What is happening? It is. Yes, the observer is in agreement.
He's nodding.
Sick. That's great work, guys. Great work. Oh, so is that. Hypex will take down Starry, and we will start round 4 versus 5 in favor of GamerLegion, who, again, it's not like they've lost the map or anything yet, but I am concerned about the fact that Lynn Vision already have 5 rounds. If you're looking for a 2-0 victory for GamerLegion, I think that dream is pretty quickly slipping away, in spite of the fact that it's been a bumpy ride for the Chinese side. I mean, they're putting in the rounds.
Yeah, it's been scrappy, hasn't it? It's been pretty turbulent on this T side, but they've just managed to land the knockout punch when it really counts. A GamerLegion have all 5 players remaining in this one. They can still pull this half back. A 6-6 kind of scoreline. It's not going to be an easy one, but at least it's doable. But there's a long way between then and now. And Lynn Vision, not for the first time, taking all their seconds, all their time allocated to move on to the site. This time more passive, more deep angles from ZTR and Towson. Oh, they're really whittling down the clock here, Anders. They need an entry and they need it quick.
Deep nade, classic one by now. CTR pushed back behind it, can't really stay up there. This is a pitch perfect execute. The only thing that could go wrong right now is Rez on the flank. I mean, he is the linchpin for this, and he's already spotted. He gets Saka, and that's really sick, but at least they know that something is happening. What a lineup for CTR as he knocks out Emilia and Westmelon both, and there's just nothing left here. They get the bomb site and the bomb plant, and they only get a single kill afterwards. That's pretty sick for GamerLegion.
Yeah, and that's precisely why I was saying they need an entry frag. They need one quick, because you're already a player down. You're going to have a lot of your sort of personnel, a lot of your pieces looking towards the backside of B, not necessarily anticipating that rotational play. And even if Rez doesn't get that kill outright, and it's a bit of a scrappy one, he does a bit of damage, him just being alive at the top of the halls is going to be enough to absolutely wreck Lynn Vision, because you have multiple players coming in from connector and CT side respectively, and they would just get overwhelmed and sandwiched in kind of a crunch. So well played by Rez. GamerLegion do draw it back to a 3-5. And now the money a little bit grim on the side of the T's. Starry's got an AK, but there's not going to be too much behind that.
Yeah, that's a bit of a concern. 3-5, just a little bit more going to be able to pick up here. So a couple of more weapons thrown into the mix. Utility will be lacking somewhat, and they're not going to be able to have the AWP, but yeah, still not too bad, I suppose, for Lynn Vision. I think anything from here on out is probably just a bit of a bonus. 5 rounds, I would say, is enough on the T side of Train, to be honest, so I'm not too worried for them at the moment. It is a nice pickup, though, on GamerLegion. Look at the AWP and the 5 or the 4 AKs. That's the best buy you could even imagine, I think.
That's a dream, yeah. That dream can turn into a nightmare unless you can make it work and make it stick. And although Lynn Vision have scraped together more of a purchase than I was anticipating, they have nothing left in the bank. But I do agree with you, Anders. I think they're already in a position where they'll be relatively happy. But, you know, every team at this point is looking to pressure and push as much as possible. They want to come out of this half 9-3, and instead, it's TYLOO that walks straight into Starry's AK.
Yeah, you could almost see, like, 3 seconds before it happens that TYLOO, his whole attention is, you know, towards the back high ground there, up on the little slope, and not on the actual box in front of him. So, not the most ideal position. GamerLegion could just, yeah. So they're gonna take a massive risk. They're gonna say we're either gonna, well, it looks like they were gonna say we'll either save the weapons, or we're gonna basically have a 4-man setup, because this is really rough. Not that CTR could do nothing here, but it's gonna be a similar thing where the grenades are gonna be landing. Should be a smoke or a Molotov landing in his position fairly soon. Up on the high ground. Oh, they find him in the open, but he actually lands the headshot. What a ridiculous flick coming out there from CTR. He should have been dead.
He should, but not quite yet. Rez, though, will pay the price. And the penalty is death, as GamerLegion are stuck in such an awkward spot, plus CTR being low HP. Yeah, this just isn't feasible. It's not worth it, and they will pull the plug. Lynn Vision already with a stellar 6 rounds on their T side and 3 more to be played. A real bounce back into form. It was a beautiful shot, exquisite from ZTR, but it still just isn't good enough. And that's kind of the problem that you face when you lose a player so free and so early into the round with TYLOO.
Yeah, and I mean, there are probably different philosophies here, but the fact that TYLOO was kind of going up there with no support from inside of the site, they can throw even an HE thrown over the wall, like through that hole in the wall. You can still probably distract some of the T's a little bit there. It just seemed like it was a bit of a coin flip, and he just unfortunately ended up on the wrong side of that. So, unfortunate. And GamerLegion, this is the other problem I suppose I have. In the back of my mind, I keep thinking, if GamerLegion are struggling on the CT side of Train, how is it going to be when they get to the T side? I'd be surprised if they suddenly play a lot better there. That's the side that most teams are having a hard time figuring out here. So yeah, 6-3. You know what? The good news is it's kind of shaping up for a potential Inferno decider, and that is what we all want here for Lynn Vision to prove that they can make a bit of a comeback. I think we're getting closer and closer all the time.
And also just having a quick look at the stats, and there isn't too much of a sample size here, only 4 times played in the last 3 months for GamerLegion, but that also echoes your sentiments here, Anders, because the win percentage on T rounds for GamerLegion has been 39%. So far from ideal, and that suggests that, yeah, things looking pretty grim.
Well, here we go. That is lightning fast. Oh my god, they're already down the sidewalk onto the B site here. TYLOO, good shot onto Saka. That's really important, but the sheer speed on this one, very hard to stop. And the bomb, it's going to be planted now, and they are doing what you're supposed to be doing here. Pushing forward, Westmelon to find TYLOO. Everything working out pretty well for Lynn Vision at the moment, even if it's sketchy for just a second there. How is this retake going to unfold, though? If you're on the GamerLegion side, you've got some smokes and some kits. You almost have to go for it. Otherwise, it's going to be too late here. CTR, that's... I hate everything about it. I hate the jump. I hate the grenade in the hand when there's no one around. And unfortunately, he does get punished for it. Rez, the next to get cut down. Amelia finding the headshot. And now Starry's alone up here, but he's got the shot onto Hypex. And I think either way, the time is practically run out here. PR just running and hoping that no one's going to chase him down. But Starry, even if he hadn't got that kill, I think he still has the round. So 7-3, and Lynn Vision doing a fantastic job now.
Starry was on 2 kills before that round started, but those 3 frags he picked up worth their weight in gold. Yeah, it doesn't really feel like a team that's confident on train at all on the CT side. Like you say, ZTR getting caught jumping, they seemingly had no idea about that angle being a possibility, and just put into his grave. Rez also the hero, the standout player, as we highlighted afterwards. The smoke has gone awry. Standout player. He's on 2 frags. He's had barely any impact whatsoever in this first half.
Yeah, that's true. That's a bit concerning, perhaps. I think all the evidence is just in favor of the idea that GamerLegion are just not very comfortable on train, which, again, like we said, the map veto itself was super interesting. Both Overpass and Train, in my opinion, were surprises to make it into the veto at all. So it can't be a complete shock to GamerLegion with the kind of bans that they had, that they would have ended up on a map like this one. And again, maybe it's part of the calculation for Ash. They want a chance to try some of these maps, and they certainly are getting a chance right now. But there's so much on the line that it feels like a scary time to be rolling the dice on something like this. Back we are walking all the way through the upper B hallways in towards the back B site here. We'll see if they can find a way in once again. Towson has a FAMAS in the B bomb site, and all right, he's getting a little bit of backup now, I suppose. But with 40 seconds, they need to make up their minds here, Lynn Vision. What's the plan?
I do really appreciate as well, though, that they have been very comfortable and confident in their T side to mix up the pace. Like we've often mentioned about the fact there's 20 seconds left, but then that last round was about as fast as a rush can possibly be, and it completely caught GamerLegion off guard. At some point, though, you feel like this is going to end up backfiring, and maybe this is the round 4. PR's in a good position, shouldn't be too affected by any grenades, but it's unlikely to deny the bomb plant from coming through. And that is a real problem when you have a distinct lack of utility. That's why PR's just going to say, screw it, unleash me. But the downside is he's fell on his sword after 1, and Starry building in confidence with every passing second as he puts 2 more bodies to the dirt. Lynn Vision, with a fantastic T-half, are on the brink of an 8-3 lead.
Yeah, that really is a classic B execute. Got to get it to them. Starry, back-to-back triple kills, trying to recover his individual form, and doing so, I must say, with very, very quick pace. 8-3, and round number 12, the last of the half. They go into it, Vince, with so little economy to work with here. GamerLegion have been really deflated, I must say, on the second map. But, you know, we're talking about all the pressure for Lynn Vision as a Chinese team playing in China and how maybe it was getting to them. I feel like right now they're playing with a reinvented level of confidence. So that is pretty sick. I'm glad to see that they're not just going to be crumbling here in this really critical game.
Some aggression finally from GamerLegion on the CT side, as Rez just going to be pushing W and holding it as long as possible. And P9, tailor-made for these positions. Misu has no idea. He is a dead man.
How is he running so quick? Oh, that's a failed smoke. But I feel like he was running quicker than even with a knife. I'm so confused. But I guess now we know why people throw those double HEs on the T side to stop that kind of a play. Interesting times. Yeah, that's gonna put a little bit of pressure on the rest of Lynn Vision. I hate to say it, but I don't even think it matters that much whether or not whether the GamerLegion get another round. I think the harder half is still ahead of them, so I'm very skeptical that they can make it back here. I'd love to be proven wrong, of course, but we'll see if they can steal this one away. CTR, awkward off angle, still checked with great precision by Westmelon.
Watching the left side allows Zaka to move in and have a quick look through on the Ivy. Some damage inflicted, but Towson with that deagle. We've already seen how deadly he is. And this pistol's in his hands. Also has Hypex. Does get his man. I thought he missed this opportunity after the first bullet, missed it out. And Zach is taking a couple of speculative shots, but nothing really connecting. Time once again beginning to be a extra adversary enemy for Lynn Vision to contend with as they get aggressive, but Hypex lays down the law with the AK. Towson comes through with a deagle, and it will be a cleanup to end the half with GamerLegion on a bit of success. But 8-4 deficit feels like it would require a Herculean effort to even get close.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's not like we have a lot of data on Lynn Vision on the map either, so maybe their own CT side is going to be confusing and and weird, but I would suspect that this is going to be GamerLegion running into even more problems here. Ash giving them a little bit of a talking in the halftime, getting into the second one there, but certainly winning the pistol is going to be important. Certainly winning the first rifle round is going to be right up there, but yeah, great stuff for Lynn Vision. And we're talking about on Overpass how we didn't get to really highlight many of the Lynn Vision players individually. We certainly had our moments here where they were really showing up. Saka, that one round where he had 4 kills in the B bomb site, that was really, I think, a pivotal moment in the half.
Yeah, the Galil, right? He runs through on ramp and just removes heads left and right. The Executioner. Yeah, they'll need some moments like that on GamerLegion side of things. And what concerns me is that Red's been a little bit quiet. PR's not had a great series overall, although it wasn't really required that much to do a lot of heavy lifting on Overpass, to be fair to him. But this would be a great time for him to show us what he's capable of. And we've seen it many times around. Still super young, but a lot of talent. Let's see what happens. A lot of utility for ZTR. Full bag of it. Flashes, molly, and smoke. Yeah,
which look at where he is. So he's gonna well, he could do a little bit of both, I suppose, but he could just be faking the A-bomb site for a push here. Emilia, though, is so close, and actually Saka is here as well. They could shut this down. Close with the dualies, the USP at range. You could see him trying to set this on a flash as well. Set in. This is sick. Emilia with 3 kills at the end of it. But I must say, the flashbang there, thrown from inside of the B-bomb site, that was the cherry on top. You could see that GamerLegion were not ready for this. What a sick setup for Lynn Vision.
And that utility is going to be feeling like it weighs tons right now because it's had absolutely no impact whatsoever. Julies do trade hands. But Lynn Vision have a firing squad set up down here. Westmelon is joined alongside Zaka. Both of them eyes trained onto the exit points or entrance points, depending on which way you look at it. But it looks like it will be the final exit for GamerLegion here on this pistol and potentially the map. As they turn tail and run, they do still have time, but CTR 9 HP, and this is a pretty obvious read if you are Lynn Vision. That this being a distinct possibility. Starry playing passively, letting his team move through on connector, and it will be a massacre, a slaughter, as Hypex gets 1, but that's all that will go the way of GamerLegion, and that lifeline goes begging.
Such a great setup to begin with, and there probably never was a chance that a GamerLegion could have made it back, to be honest. It felt like that was, once they were in that 2v4, it was kind of done for here. Emilia, just so aggressive, but it works out. I'm not complaining at all. I would have loved to have seen if GamerLegion would have gone for the full fake, or if they were just going to go out pop dogs to try and join with the utility that was on CTR, but we're never going to know that for sure now. So I guess it'll be a question for the future. Sure, they're going to try and run that again. UMP is really in style right now for Lynn Vision. They've been buying it quite a bit. Personally, not a big fan. Don't like the rate of fire.
Ooh. Yeah, it feels a bit slow. This shooting gallery opens up, but it's going to be Zaka that's going to dial in with a bunch of money. If GamerLegion aren't careful, Emilia continues his presence with the A1S. And Zaka is about to backstab as he plunges the metaphorical knife into the face of PR. 10-4, the scoreline. And yeah, this just feels like we're heading to Inferno sooner rather than later. That's the vibe I'm getting right now.
Yeah, but I guess like we've been saying, the good news, the positive news is that both teams should be really proficient on the map of Inferno. So I can't really say that I'm too sad about it. Deciding map in a series, it's a classic for a reason, I suppose. We'll see if Lynn Vision can find the last 3 rounds then. They are gunning for here. I'm sure it's possible. Classic utility to try and stop any kind of a rush here. So a lot of evidence, I think, that Lynn Vision feel more comfortable on this map than anything GamerLegion have shown so far. For Misu, I'm surprised that he had the gun out ready. He wanted to peek with that flashbang, so he could have died to PR. Probably should have died to PR there, but trade is in. CTR opening up. I mean, that smoke fades. There is a chance that there's going to be some pressure on Westmelon, who's playing on the other side of it. Emilia going down. That's great work for CTR.
And it keeps the CT so interested over on this area of the map as well, and effectively bypasses a lot of control elsewhere. Rez now shows his hand alongside ZTR. They put down Westmelon. They have a good idea as to Starry's positioning as well with the UMP. Molly's going to keep him at arm's reach for the time being. That's going to start to fade away. He's going to be called upon sooner rather than later. He's not made a single sound. He's not moved an inch, and he gets checked by ZTR, and the superior AK will reign out supreme. Just to say for Zaka once again, we said this quite often on Overpass, but in very different circumstances. And I think we also saw ZTR, if I'm not mistaken, pick up a UMP for GamerLegion over on Overpass early on as well. So it seems both teams have UMP enjoyers within them.
Yeah, but somehow I'm seeing it get picked up more and more. I don't know how it's having a resurgence. I feel like nothing's really changed all that much. I suppose the MP9 changed, then maybe some people have, you know, reconsidered some of the other SMGs as a result. But yeah, not me. I'm never touching any of those weapons, to be honest. You know, I'd rather play with the Scout myself.
I'm definitely an MP9 Mac 10 enjoyer for sure. I agree. Yeah, abuser. That's probably more accurate, to be fair. The UMP does just feel garbage. But do you know, I was one of the people that disliked it when it was meta as well. I just never liked the way the gun felt, personally. Yeah. That's probably why I'm trash.
Sick. Hated it before it was cool. I like that.
Yep.
Well, you're wrecking yourself playing Battlefield anyway, so when you get back to playing Counter-Strike, it's going to be a mess, isn't it? So.
Don't remind me, Anders.
That day will come. Don't worry about it. Here's the utility. It's classic for a reason. You really have to do it. You have to stop the CTs from getting there. And so far, so good. AWP on Saka and then a scout on Call Me Sue. I mean, this is a completely chaotic round in many ways for Lynn Vision, but whether they win or lose this, I think they're still going to be fine. For GamerLegion, though, it is critical that they pick up this round. If we are going to start talk about some sort of a wild comeback here on Train, then now is the time to set that in motion. And look at Saka. This is a mental position. He does have some backup with him. Obviously, with a rifle or any kind of an MP9, this is super common. But with an AWP like this, that is pretty advanced.
Yeah, you leave yourself basically no room for error. It's like it's a one and done shot. Like you say, he does at least have the bodyguard of Westmelon in here, but look at that. GamerLegion not taking any chances. They hadn't had eyes on A main for so long that they realized that was a distinct possibility, especially when you know the economy of the opposition is low. These kind of cheeky positions are more likely. So well done, at least to cordon off that area, but they still need to deal with a lot of CTs here, including an AWP with just 30 seconds left. This round can still easily go the way of Lynn Vision as Zaka plucks ZTR out of midair.
It's dangerous jumping like that on the T side. I don't know why they're doing that behind the E-box. 15 seconds now. They're trying to clear the space, trying to plant the bomb here, but is anyone going to be covering? They're actually interrupted. Hypex, he's now alone with 8 seconds on the clock, and if they just run him down, I think the fact that he faked it there, he's already going to be dead. If he wanted to go for it, he would have had to have crossed his fingers that no one was going to peek him, but they probably were anyway, so another close round, but it goes the way of Lynn Vision, and you know, I think more evidence in this round. This is, I think, a classic example of just how GamerLegion don't feel comfortable on Train.
I think we're finally also starting to see what Lynn Vision are actually capable of. Like, they've been sleeping giants for those first two best of ones, or first maps, I should say, in their respective games. And now Zaka in particular, some lovely shots. Amelia's also chipped in. Starry at one point was 2-7, by the way. He picked up a clutch 3K, and since then he's been off to the races. He's up to 11. Right. So a complete turn of events here for pretty much the entirety of Lynn Vision. And GamerLegion, they're going to be shell-shocked, man. Like, wondering, what the hell do we do at this point?
I mean, I've been saying it for a minute now, but I really think this T-side is... I can't see how they can easily put it together. I think there's a level difference here between Lynn Vision and GamerLegion on this particular map. Lots of individual examples where you can just see that some of the GamerLegion players, they don't like the angles, they don't know how to play certain corners. It's a bit awkward when you kind of look at it in totality. I'm sure they would recognize that themselves even. Rez trying for the opening, probably should have been his right there, but Starry, even with the flash in his eyes, my god. Deletes Hypex as well, because why not? And that's half the team more or less gone here for GamerLegion.
Yeah, and any final hopes or desires of getting that 2-0 slipping through their fingers. Towson, VR with rifles, he could maybe justify holding on to the next round, but No smokes to play. Well, they just did pick up one, to be fair. As you can see here, the bomb still sprawled out. Needs to be reclaimed, but it will be momentarily. It looks like they're going to go out on their shield. And if they're going to lose, they're going to do it on their own terms. They're not going to be hiding and saving at this point. They're going to try and take the fight to Lynn Vision. Can respect it, but in a 3-on-5, the way Lynn Vision are playing right now, the lack of utility doesn't look good. Also, having to trade up to the AK is going to make sound cues, and so they can't sit around and wait any longer. Going to be pushing out into the lion's den, and Zaka, with those sharp teeth, plunges them in for another couple, another kill onto ZTR in midair as well with the AWP. And that round is a done deal.
Yeah, you're right. Same kind of scenario where jumping behind the E-box gets you killed. But you know what? I'm glad you highlighted this. That 3v5 with Lynn Vision playing so far back on the map, I really like that. That's the sort of stuff where I feel like in the past you've seen them, somehow they go fight in those 3v5s because they just want to. They feel like, oh, well, you know what, we're winning, we're beating them up. And suddenly you end up losing a round or two. So I actually really respect the discipline in that last round. I think it's important to carry this home now. You're one round away from winning this map. It's a really impressive lead. Don't screw it up by suddenly feeling really confident and brave. And I think in the last round kind of showing you that they've got some control of the troops here. So that's a nice look for them at the moment going into what should surely be a third map. I don't think we could even be doubting that so much anymore. Round number 18, we're going to be seeing an attack towards the B bomb site, but Amelia, smoke is down at a very nice time. And well, this is incendiary, sorry, but I feel like it's going to buy them a little bit of time. We'll see if they rotate anyone else over. They're so far back, though.
Mollies are connecting. Smoke's going to go down, though, to keep Amelia safe. His vision gets blurry, though. As the smoke is going to fade away. Amelia pushes through, and PR's the only player to get any success in this round. He has doubled up, though, and a triple on top of it. And Towson comes in with a deagle. Not for the first time today. Call Me Sue could still put this map to bed, though, and take us to Inferno. But it will not be in the way that he was anticipating just a few moments prior. He has the cover crossed. He is worried about the push to his right-hand side. Now players going onto the site. Has the incendiary as well, but the flash is going to keep him at arm's reach. He can't toss that into the back of the site as it stands. And Towson can start to reposition. Call Me Sue, though, is snaking his way up, meandering through onto the backside of the site. He does have the kit, but no smoke is a bit of a problem. He knows one player is over in this vicinity somewhere, and there is the kill. Does he decide to pull the pin on this incendiary and toss it onto one of these sides? He does, but it's a little bit too late, and PR secures the round with a 4K.
You're right. If that incendiary goes down, 2 seconds earlier or right away, then PR has to make noise running through it, and he's going to give himself away. But that is a remarkable recovery for GamerLegion. They should have lost this round. The early double kill there for Emilia, that was everything. And honestly, it's a crazy play for Emilia. I can't believe he ran for the smoke to find this double opening. It's obviously unexpected. You could tell that GamerLegion are not ready for that at all. But yeah, PR and Towson, obviously one headshot here. But yeah, PR at the end of it with 4 kills. That is quite something. Still a long road back into the half, of course. But you know what? It's something.
Yeah, it's just going to take each moment at a time. Don't get too ahead of yourself. Call Me Sue, though. Speaking ahead of himself, dirty off angle. Probably don't expect to peek, but he kind of helps his adversaries out by swinging through onto a natural angle that PR will be watching anyway. Did himself no favors, and that's a pretty big scalp to take early on. Not just Call Me Sue being a bit of a threat, but also it now funnels Lynn Vision into an awkward position where they have no eyes on Ivy. They're not sure if they're being pushed from the backside, and at some stage they're going to have to try and deal with this.
Yeah, they are spread out really far. I feel like with the money that's left here, it would make so much more sense for me if Lynn Vision all grouped up in one bomb site right now and just said, who cares? If we lose another round, it doesn't really matter. But if they come to us in either A or B, we're going to have all of the guns ready. So I don't like this really thin spread that's going on the defense at the moment. I do like the fact that they're pushing into A main, though. If you're going to do something, then again, it's taking a risk, but it is also potentially setting themselves up for a bit of a play. It will be the split to B through CT spawn, which is my all-time favorite strategy on this map. It's what I think definitional for how the map can play if you're doing it really well, and you can tell that Zachary just got no idea. Sick strategy. They should have probably been winning the round anyway, just with the opening kill there. But yeah, we get a step closer. It's getting more interesting. 12-7 now.
And PR really starting to come alive. This is much more what we expect to see from a player of his caliber. Some hugely impactful entries, some clutch moments as well on top of it. Westmoreland should get the kill into ZTR. He's going to see if a second player is going to bypass as well, now that he's realized that's not the case. And I don't think he wants to take the kill unless absolutely necessary, because it's also like his priority is saving his weapon as opposed to killing the enemy team. That has more value for him, so he took as long as possible before securing that to give him enough time with the bomb detonation to hold on to his A1S. Intelligent plays from him, but it will mean GamerLegion regardless get on the scoreboard for the 7th time.
They're taking small steps in the right direction. I mean, we've seen some ridiculous comebacks today. Obviously, the FaZe game earlier in the day probably takes the crown for at least day 1 here, the CAC. But why not another one? I mean, GamerLegion, they could make a bit of a comeback themselves. With the money looking like it is on Lynn Vision, it's not out of the question that something could be happening.
Rez getting so aggressive here, though. Unfortunate for Amelia. 2 players wide swinging with assault rifles, and you got the P250 is a very unenviable position. Molotov is going to stop Towson from getting aggressive, but that goes both ways. Also, Lynn Vision can't afford to push any longer, and so they back onto the site and get through connector. They're going to be rotating 3 of 4 onto B, and they're hoping they're about to welcome the oncoming T's. But GamerLegion, they're taking their sweet time, and they're very split up as well. I don't think they're going to be committing to either bomb site anytime soon.
Yeah, they've definitely got time on their side. They got the utilities still slowly shaping up to be more of a split, so presumably we're going to be seeing Rez and Towson joining down from the pop dog position. And honestly, the way that the setup is working, I think it's going to be absolutely fine. So you can see Saka is out there pretty much alone. Lynn Vision, again, I think they should be happy to save these 2 weapons. It's maybe not the most exciting round to look at here, but from Lynn Vision it makes so much sense because all they need is 1 or 2 good buy rounds here, and it will massively increase their chances of winning just the 1 round that they need. So sure, you stack the wrong bomb site, who cares? Just save what you got. And this is pretty much what I wanted them to do in the last round where they had 4 rifles alive. They're just doing it a round later, which is fine.
Yeah, exactly. Bolsters that economy. They can afford an AWP into the next round for Zaka, who's had a lot of impact, 16 and 8. And like you say, they have the luxury of a ton of bonus rounds. They got surplus rounds and surplus cash now, and they just have to hit success 1 time. And this map is done. Sure, the pressure is going to start to build because GamerLegion getting a little bit too close for comfort right now, but Lynn Vision have already shown us they can bounce back from adversity multiple times over. Does look like they'll be given this reprieve and able to save onto these 2 weapons without too many issues. But GamerLegion now have brought the deficit down to 4. Getting closer and closer.
Yeah, full focus here in the GamerLegion camp. It is awkward when you are on the CT side and you start to run out of money, which is why saving the rifles there was going to be pretty important. They can now rebuy the AWP on Saka, and yeah, him and Amelia both with 16 kills. That's pretty impressive. Need more of that 1 good round here, and they can see off train, start to focus on Inferno. Early attempted wallbang there with the Molotov on top. Oh no! He fully burns from that. Ridiculous.
Oh, that's such a good read, man. That's such a good call. Waiting all this time to finally have the AWP, and Zaki gets naded and mollied down from 100 to 0, trying to get aggressive into Pop Dog. GamerLegion, they're in the minds of Lynn Vision.
They really are, and he was slowed from the attempted wallbang. It's like he was looking at the wall thinking, oh, wait a minute, I don't want to do this. And then as he's standing still waiting for it, it's just an absolute firestorm on top of him.
And what a pick as well. Like, if you wanted 1 player dead at the start of the round, it would be Zaka. You want the AWP down. Yes, they've picked it up now. Starry's retrieved it, but he does not wield the same prowess with that gun. Zaka, we've seen him already pick up a bunch of multi-frags, blocking ZT out of the air multiple times. But still, the work is not done. They're going to have to push through the fire and flames of the incendiaries that are being hopped onto the platform. And Amelia stands his ground and delivers for one. His position known, but he needs Call Me Sue to help him out. And he'll do just that with 2 huge kills alongside Westmelon. And that may very well be the curtain coming down here on Train. Hypex is going to have to try and bypass 2 smokes with 20 seconds left. He controls the bomb, but that's basically the only thing in his favor. And Westmelon puts him down with shrapnel. To Inferno we march.
That is a great rotation coming into the B-bomb side. So good stuff here. No worries at all for LynVision towards the end. I was getting a little bit scared, but they managed to control the situation. High fives all around. As we do see a 3rd map in the series with absolutely everything on the line here. This is critical. He can't reroll in the box anyway. Just take it. Don't worry about it.
Just take them all.
Yeah, take 2 of everything. Take triple dose. Let's go. Yeah, high fives all around. The meds are in. Meds, as they say on HLTV. PR's got them. That is my favorite reply when somebody comes up with some absolutely delusional take.
Meds.
Here we go. We're back, ladies and gentlemen. I've taken some meds myself, in fact, and we're good to go. Inferno to decide the whole thing with here. LynVision versus GamerLegion. Thank you for your patience. It's the CAC, and it's the final map of the series here. Elimination on the line. Nobody wants to get knocked out this early. It's going to be LynVision. Looks like they'll be starting on the CT side with GamerLegion on the T side. And moving down through the middle, Saka. This is not really a rush down the middle. They are just walking silently, but the shadows showing, and Towson will open up on Inferno.
Oh, they do get the man in return, though. I was going to say, it is a bit of a concerning strategy to have, because like you say, they know they're not pushing up the banana side. They've got 2 players at the top of banana, and that shadow is always going to give the advantage to the T-ramp player. And they have took that advantage again. PR onto Starry.
Yeah. Was that at the side of the box or through the railing? I'm not really sure, but it looked like it clipped the wall on something. They're going to throw down smokes. It's going to be these 2 players defending. That's it. Amelia flashed back inside of the site. And, yeah, slowly the grip is tightening around the A-bomb site. Westmelon, good headshot to shut it down. But, unfortunately, they couldn't stay alive. So the bomb's going to be planted at 1 versus 3 here for Call Me Sue. And you have to assume that GamerLegion are going to be able to play just to survive long enough here. He doesn't have the kit. And even though the bomb is only just planted, he has to find 3 players. I doubt that's going to happen. It should be borderline impossible to win this round for him, although that's a start. Tries to go for the flick. He spins around. He had the right read. Honestly, the understanding there for Call Me Sue was spectacular, but he just couldn't win that one. And PR instead with the triple, and a great start for GamerLegion.
Yeah, honestly, it's a great read, like you said, and it's a great effort as well. He was just millimeters off connecting 2 headshots and basically securing that round. The verticality of the apps didn't even seem to phase him that much either. But GamerLegion, efficient, ruthlessly so for the bomb plant, and they will yield and reap the rewards. I have no idea what he just said. Do you understand?
No, I couldn't hear quite. I wasn't sure if he was shouting. I mean, he was shouting Horrors, and then I don't know what happened after that. Hopefully it wasn't Danish, because then obviously it's a bit embarrassing, but, you know. I do my best. Every once in a while I try and translate some Danish, you know, but I forget half of it myself, to be honest. It's a confusing language.
It definitely sounds like it. More UMPs? Call Me Sue? They're not giving it up. They will not. And so does Rez.
Okay. The UMP is making a soft comeback into the meta. Don't really feel strongly about it one way or another. I am interested in this flashbang that's going to be thrown in from Emilia. Okay, trying to body block that smoke as much as possible. Does leave a bit of a gap on the right-hand side that he could jump through fairly easily, but I think it'll be down to the flashbangs here. That's what's going to make the difference. Molotovs going out left and right. It's a jumping Mac 10 coming in. PR with 2 kills, and they pretty much clear out the bomb site here. So great utility use. I think the whole back of the bomb site being burned out, even if the Molotovs don't get the kills. As we all know, it's more about not having to check those corners. You can keep your crosshairs in the positions where there actually are any CTs. It's a bit of a luxury coming through there.
Save will be coming through for Zaka and Starry. as they don't really have any other prospects available. Oh dear, Starry's gone down. That's going to put a lot more problems for Zaka to try and solve. He doesn't have that much left on the timer, though, to try and just keep himself alive, but he must be aware that there's a potential flank coming around the backside right now, and he's going to be baited in as well from a double peek on middle. Tries to fall back. ZTR's going to be picking up the pace, trying to run straight through onto Apps to deal with him sooner rather than later. Checking in the pit side, he now knows exactly where he is, but there's just not enough time left, and so Zaka, by the skin of his teeth, will survive with the scout.
Hey, I mean, you know, it's not the most impressive weapon, I guess, on Inferno, but still, you never know. You get to play with it for another round here. GamerLegion, though, enjoyable round. See if they can keep it up. It should be even easier this time. There is a single smoke and a flashbang as well on Amelia, but in totality here, this is a very favorable round for GamerLegion, no question. Yeah, we'll have to, I mean, we're just going to have to see if there's even anything to fight for. The way that CTR's moving up like this, he's sensed nobody. He's really not feeling anything. Smoke's going to be up on top of the boost here just in case. Yeah, I think very likely also realizing there's no one up there. A lot of teams, they started body blocking that smoke when it gets boosted up, or it bounces into them. And either way, the T's can tell what's actually happening on that side. So it's usually a bit of a giveaway if you start body blocking it that something is up.
Also feels like a bit of a giveaway as well. Like if you were stacking on that site, you probably don't want to throw the smoke. You actually want to welcome the T's into your arms.
Yeah.
So throwing that smoke almost gives the player away as well to a degree, but they're going to be doing their due diligence as a carpet of Molotovs land on the site and all the key choke points. Yeah. They're going to find out it is bereft of any CTs, and it will be a 3-0.
Especially that Molotov that lands on the blue top is very nice because it actually burns both sides of the box. If you throw it correctly, you can burn out, you know, obviously both the boost, but you can burn out both the, you know, the left and right hand side of the box too. So super efficient, worth learning. They have another Molotov to land to the back of new box, and yeah, just everything working out. It's a lot of money to be spent when there's nobody on the bomb side, but it is way better to spend that money than it is to potentially lose the round to a stack. So the math is working out in their favor, and they're going to be winning a third round here, so it's a good job.
And with no loss of life, it would appear, unless Call Me Sue is going to put an end to that mantra. There's an even trade back and forth, though, at the dying embers of the round, and Zaka again manages to hold on to his scout. Survives as well, surprising considering ZTR had the drop on him with the Mac 10.
Gonna be throwing away the scout, though. Doesn't want to play around with it any longer. I suppose if it would have been an AK there, that would have been even more interesting, but he'll pick up the AWP instead. So the first real test that's going to be coming out, Lynn Vision. They've got money, they've got the rifles in their hands. They need kills, though, more than anything. Right now, they have 6 kills in total going in around number 4. That's not that much to work with. So, yeah, it'll have to change right here. Early push. Look at how fast they are, GamerLegion, towards the apartments. They are ready, though. Saka on the one hand, the Starry on the other, but this is a position that could get grenaded out. There are a lot of Molotovs and flashes that can be thrown into this. Instead, they're going to be coming through the middle, it seems like, with PR holding the apartments on the other side.
It is a risky sort of gambit play there because, again, like if you smoke off short and you push through on archers, you've basically just given up all of that map control and real estate. But it's not punished. And instead, the timing was perfect. ZTR down, and PR is going to try and make the most of this. Make sure that Apps is now under control. There's no pesky CT still lurking around in the shadows. That's not the case. They got the man they were looking for. The re-engage, though, is starting to come through from Zachary. I believe he's now up, perched in the hallway once again. So really dynamic, fluid play from Lynn Vision, and it's wasting so much time off the clock on GamerLegion.
Yeah, and the fact that they never got spotted at the bottom of the A hallway there means they can go back and do it again if they want to. They can actually return to that strategy later on. I don't think anyone even realized that was happening. Saka, classic position here. Bit scary if they just get a bit closer now, but he's good for the first kill on Townsend. Can't quite make it back, and that is so worth it. The trade is in. Oh, and Erez catching Amelia, trying to get through the smoke here. In a matter of seconds, it turns around in favor of GamerLegion, and now Kolmisu and Westmelon, they're way on the other side of the map, but they're not even going for it. That is spectacular. The round starts off so well for Lynn Vision. It seemed like it was all working in their favor. 2 kills to open with, and then 3 seconds later, the round is lost.
That's like one of those rounds as well, Anders, that I come out of this and I feel like this was just really good Counter-Strike from both teams. You know, some really cool moments from Lynn Vision in the early stages of the round, and they get away with it. Their fluidity with how fast they were rotating, but then poking and probing over on the hallway. But the call there from ZTR is so on point, but behind it there is ruthless execution on that AK control from PR and Hypex for those 2 entry frags. Really nicely done. And the 4-0 is going to come to as a shock to Lynn Vision, because for all intents and purposes, that had to be their round. It should have been their round.
They certainly had the setup for it. They certainly had everything they could have needed to make that work. But yeah, you're right. Great work for both teams. I don't disagree. PR with an 8-1 scoreline. So some of the credit here is going to be put down to him. He was kind of absent on train. Like, you could tell. We talked about it a couple of times during some of those rounds, but he looked very awkward in some of those fights, and that is not the case at the moment. Again, GamerLegion, look at how fast they are towards the A apartments. Normally, this takes a long time for the T side to actually get all the way into A apps like this, but PR's walked the whole way there. Nova shotgun, a beautiful one at that, waiting on the other side, and his face is just completely disfigured behind that one. Unfortunate. It's going to be an early kill there with the shotgun. What a rare sight that is.
Yeah, relatively cheap shotgun has now been upgraded significantly to the AK-47. Perfect crosshair placement. It's also an angle when you're up on those balcony railings. It's actually hard to flash. Typically, the flash is going to hit the backside of the balcony or the pit players. So it is a really annoying angle to contend with as PR feels face first. And although, as you highlighted, he was off to a crazy 8-1 start, he has been the talisman. Towards the end of train at the start of Inferno, he is the only player to fall. So the pressure certainly swelling. Good kill from Rez. Doesn't give too much away. If anything, it's going to keep these 3 CTs interested over on A, while the bomb is starting to make a move onto the B side. They're about to throw in their utility.
Yeah, they're just going to go all in. There's no reason not to here. Westmelon. Oh, is he going to run in alone? I feel like this is a big mistake, although he does get the headshot. But honestly, they had a 4 versus 3. He had another incendiary, even another flashbang. I feel like going through like that alone is potentially risking the round quite a bit, and it still could be very dangerous. They're in the corner trying to see if they can get out now. Towson, good shot. Oh, what a flick from Hypex. Takes down Amelia. One more shot will do it, and he will absolutely clear out Call Me Sue. That is so sick from the Polish AWPer.
And he knew he had to re-peek as well because his position was compromised. If Call Me Sue has a Molotov or a HE, tosses it into Shadow, that could be the end of the round. So Hypex taking the initiative, being reactive, but also just getting aggressive behind it is so well played. And again, Lynn Vision, they had the opportunities to get this round done, and they just let it fall away by the wayside. They should have 2 rounds already on this half.
Yeah, you're right. Walking into that shot and then being ready, that was the play. Little smile on Rez as he is loving life at the moment. Deep grenade, that's actually kind of painful, but does it really matter? 5-0 in favor of GamerLegion, and round number 6 here starting to look pretty grim for Lynn Vision. Where are the kills coming through? They still don't have that many to speak of. And now this buy had better work out. Westmelon, beautiful taps. Taking down CTR. That's a good start, but can you escape is the question. Towson's running in front. He wants to hunt this down. He's ready for the fight, but now the flashes are coming through. Good, fundamental teamwork here for Lynn Vision.
Yeah, and this time they don't get overzealous. They wait for that flash. They knew it was coming. But we've been in similar situations where they have a huge advantage. They have a stranglehold over round 6, as we've seen twice already. They've got to snatch this with both hands, and if they lose this map, they're done, and they're already off to a horrendous start. This is where not just win the round, but make sure that you do it without any more loss of life. You can build your economy, you can get yourself back into this game, but instead, Zaka goes down to Hypex, and PR is making moves round the side. The timing, though, works against him.
Yeah. was close, but I feel like there should be plenty enough here. Backup is coming in as well from banana position. Rez, that's a dangerous headshot. Swings wide for it, but they are both on the other side there, ready and waiting. So the first round for Linvision has been picked up 5-1. It's not a great look, but it is definitely not too late to make it back here. So let's see if this is enough to kind of propel this team back into action. They need to get a whole bunch of rounds here. Shut down PR, shut down Hypex. Both of them are playing super well, but yeah, at least they're on the board.
Yeah, just the 2 casualties as well does afford them the luxury of having a really solid purchase and a way back into this. But I mean, we saw this kind of happen on Overpass as well. They were at a 7-0 deficit. They started to make a bit of a comeback, but it never really materialized. Let's see if they've learnt their lesson. If they're going to take that form from Train forward here. Hypex and Rez both going to get flashed through. In fact, it's actually a HE to blow open the smoke. They're going to happily take that damage. It's 30 between the two of them. We could see what they were looking for, that shock and awe kind of approach. But no one was home. Linvision playing way more passive.
And obviously, just to point out, if you're laughing at that in the chat, that looks really funny when there's no one on the other side. If there's a CT waiting there, that's an easy way to die. You're looking at a smoke, and then suddenly, essentially, the top of the smoke gets blown out, and there's just a T waiting inside of the smoke with the crosshair already in position. So I'm sure that can work in a very dangerous way. What a shot! He actually got collided by the grenade, and then into a headshot by Call Me Sue. That's unfortunate. What a way to go. Hypex out of the round. They're setting up some utility towards the Arch side and Library to try and see if they can create some space here, but another really tough round for GamerLegion to get out of.
Yeah, it feels like Linvision have had advantages in so many of these rounds getting the opening pick or two. And Rez, once again, he has been very proactive around this Arch side alongside PR. Going to be coming through the smoke, and Zaka is watching, eagle-eyed, trained onto him with the AWP. Won't be missing that shot, and with 15 seconds left, I think it will be a save. This time they're going to have to tap out.
Very similar ideas in some of these rounds where they can't quite make it through on Banana. They go back and try and test the Arch position, but they don't have the right utility to get through on that side, unfortunately. So yeah, save has been called. I suppose it's not too bad. They get to get some of these rifles into the next one, but the utility will be suffering a bit, perhaps, on the GamerLegion side of things, and Linvision, more than anything, happy to take some of these rounds. 5-2. It's the beginning of something. It's nowhere near the end. They need to hold strong, but I'm starting to see how there's a way back.
A lot of obstacles along the way, for sure. Molotovs and smokes being exchanged as this fierce battle for Banana commences. There is a gap in that smoke. Westmoreland's going to get flashed in, but there is Towson and ZTR watching, and they're happy at that opportunity. It gives them the advantage, and I was looking at the stats here, Anders. Coming into this round, by the way, Linvision had 4 opening picks, and GamerLegion had 3. So they were getting the opening pick more often than not, but just losing the rounds.
Yeah, that's, in a way, it's frustrating. In another way, hopefully it means you can keep doing it and then eventually win the rounds behind it. But you're right, with that many opening picks, it should have been more of a better start for them in many ways. It almost was. Flash around the corner and just checking it out. Rez making a bit of noise. You can very clearly see that he's trying to keep as many people here as he can while the rest are setting up on Banana. And to be honest, this Banana execute has kind of been working out very well for them. This time, it's only the AWP, which presumably is going to get grenaded out in 10 different ways. I don't think they're respecting that.
Well, they're not at all. They're pushing straight through. And that's the problem. They get slapped for it. You show disrespect to Zaka, and he's going to put that up to use. Another smoke comes in. Still 3 players alive, though, albeit a low ZTR. Going to just force that plant down. It does change the dynamic of this round slightly. And he was hoping for a couple of USP headshots there. Give a haircut to that player. Narrowly missing out. And PR goes in for a kill of his own. Now, all 3 of GamerLegion are low, but Linvision don't have much to work with on this retake.
They really don't, you're right. They've got the kit. The flash has been set up already. Now they're going for the wide swing, and that will set it up. Kill onto PR. And CTR down in yellow alone. They're coming in behind him as well. He knows. Oh, he's so sandwiched in. Great retake. There's the kit picked up. All right, I was getting a bit nervous. But they will have just enough time for it here. I can't believe Saka landed that first flick, though. I felt like that was so unlikely that he was going to be able to do that. But I still think for GamerLegion, it was the right move to go through the smoke. They just needed a little bit more. Like one more kill towards the bomb side, and they would have been fine.
PR was in a bit of an awkward position. The flashbang that was tossed over, by the way, completely blinded him, but also Towson up the top of the box, so neither of them really had anything to say about it. And ZTR tried to hide in the close angle of Pool, but it just wasn't enough. GamerLegion still able, though, to muster together an AK into this one, get a hero buy into effect, and continue to apply that pressure. Be unrelenting with it. Nades being tossed in, Molotovs, Hypex has to come out into the open. Flash is good, but there's no follow-up damage. 0 damage across to the CTs, and look how wounded GamerLegion are collectively.
Even first barrage of grenades put Towson on about 7 health before he even really got a chance to see anyone. They're going to get 1 kill in return, but that shouldn't make a big difference here. And Lynn Vision, just great work. Amelia, only the one, but Call Me Sue is in position. Don't give your life for this. This is definitely where you want to play it smart. Yes, you're going to be giving up the bomb plant, but you just need to make sure that the round has been won. And that's it. Call Me Sue with a double kill. And Amelia with 2 of his own will give them a 4th round. So this is a nice comeback from again, a 5-0 start now into a 4-5 scoreline. It's not bad.
Yeah, finally starting to convert some of those rounds where they're getting the opening picks. They're not letting this one slip away. And I would maybe say to GamerLegion, like these B-side hits haven't been as successful as when we've seen them occupying apps. Getting through on arches, attacking the A side seems to be yielding a lot more success. They've even hit the B side late in the round, but they've got their initial impact over on A. They've drawn away rotations. They haven't fought banana control early on. And to be honest, for the most part, they've been losing these early battles on banana. Sure, that last round's not a fair one to really highlight because GamerLegion came in with an AK and that was basically it. But they just got melted from the utility that Lynn Vision tossed in.
Well, speaking of that utility, right, it's even more impactful because there's been 3 people on this side of the map for a long time. And honestly, if GamerLegion are picking up on that, though, that Lynn Vision are putting 3 people at B, there is a chance you can play a lot faster towards the middle of the map. That might be a risk that's worth taking if you feel like there's a good chance that they're going to be stacking that B bomb side at the beginning. But yeah, 4 in a row, 2 of them with bomb plants. Let's see what GamerLegion end up with here. Nice little cache of grenades in CT spawn.
It's more of the same. Getting peppered, but this time it's CTR that does get the first kill. Starry is straight back though, and Call Me Sue hiding in the smoke, hoping, praying to the CS gods that his position will be safe, so he can just draw away. He was hoping to see a player push up close. It is a typical angle that you're going to be looking into behind the half wall, but now the smoke clears. Oh, and Amelia is caught in the worst timing. Call Me Sue nearly put down to the HE. 8 health remaining. And just as I was saying, like, maybe it's time to go and focus elsewhere. GamerLegion, they say no. And they show why they have confidence in this B-side hit.
Saka, what a weird position I have to fight in there. I don't think he's expecting for PR to be holding the stairs that late in the round. Call Me Sue, automatically dead. Towson, it's great work. It's one of the most thankless jobs you could imagine in Counter-Strike is being first in on banana that often. You're always going to run into the grenades. You're always going to have a tough time. But yeah, just a couple of rounds like that where you actually find the opening, and that is all you need. So, 6-4 now, and yeah, this time it works out in favor of GamerLegion. I mean, a lot of it is also, I don't want to say it's luck, but there's definitely also a bit of a coin toss sometimes when you're trading grenades on banana. It's hard to know who's coming out on top always.
And Ash actually made a really fascinating and a really good video on entry fragging, which I'd recommend you guys check out, obviously after these games today, but it'll definitely illuminate a lot of elements that he's looking for, especially from the coach and his players. 1-for-1 trade early on, though. Westmelon and ZTR go back and forth. Damage, though, to ZTR, and he's going to have to be very careful. Oh, PR, that's a sneaky shot. Completely and utterly jump-scaring Starry, but at least Amelia was there to avenge his fallen teammate.
I really thought he was going to go back and hit that wall bang. You could just tell that he was ready for that, but you're right. Shot in the back instead, and 3 versus 3. Still got a minute on the clock, so they're going to be moving out. I do like the rotation, though. They basically put the orb all the way on the other side, and Amelia's moved out from the boiler room and, you know, playing back towards Arch, so might be hard to guess exactly where they are. Smoke is going to be going up towards the library, so the bomb is going to be pretty much secured here. There's no one that can stop them. That's kind of scary for Lynn Vision. I said I enjoyed the rotation, but it might backfire on them.
Yeah, they had Zaka was moving through CT spawn. I don't know what happened, if they got spooked or what, but he ended up going back the other way. So wasn't there in time. Switches to the sidearm, but Hypex can't finish off Amelia. Partially through the wall, saves his life as a shield. And now they trade back and forth. Courtney goes in. Rez gets flashed out, fully blinded. That flash is so on point, but he's still able to connect one headshot. And just for a moment, I began to believe, but Lynn Vision put him down and secure a 5th.
Oh man, Hypex, that's... It's not even really his fault, but you're absolutely right. It clips the wall, and that's enough to keep the enemy alive for a second longer. That could have been everything. Well, listen, we said we wanted a closer game. We wanted a more fair battle on this one. It's turning into that right now. 6-5. Oh, PR, the attempt is admirable. You would have loved to have seen that work out. Yeah, this is the moment. I think if Hypex gets that one, I think it's GG in the round. I think that's it. GamerLegion just almost automatically win it, but yeah, good work. Lynn Vision, great retake coming in here. And it'll give them another round. Down to the last of the half now.
Talking about picking up AKs, I would assume, at the end there for Lynn Vision. Want to make sure they have as good of a purchase and as well as equipped armory as possible. Starry has one. Not sure what Westmelon is currently rocking with. But yeah, well, really valiant comeback here, man. Like, they look dead and buried at 5-0, I've got to be honest.
Also, if, you know, in a world where they have enough to buy an AWP anyway on the CT side, they might as well pick up all the AKs they can, right? So I suppose if they had the people alive for it, just pick up 2 AKs and then buy the AWP instead. We'll see. We'll see. Technical pause here just before we get into round number 12. But I don't know. It's kind of hard to predict who's going to be coming out on top of this one. I have really enjoyed GamerLegion's T side so far, but Lynn Vision, you know, to give them some credit, they could have crashed out of this first half, right? It's a 5-0 lead in favor of GamerLegion at the beginning, so there was every opportunity for them to kind of crumble under the pressure, but I feel like they're showing a bit of strength here towards the end, and I think that's great.
Yeah, I think, you know, to be completely honest, the first 2 maps of this series, it wasn't necessarily the best Counter-Strike, right? Like, one team was clearly confident and was feeling pretty good, the other was struggling. This map is completely different. I feel like the overall level of CS has been far higher on this Inferno than we saw on Overpass or Train collectively from both teams. And so it's just been really fascinating to see how these rotations are coming in, kind of the set plays that we're seeing early doors, the decision-making from the IGLs. It's been a really fun map to watch. So I think if this did end 6-6, it would be probably fair, all things considered.
Well, we're going to find out in a couple of minutes, perhaps, how this will actually end. Hypex. Ooh, Rez straight through the smoke. That's scary. I think Saka hears the running there, and he certainly heard the burn. Hypex still going to get Westmelon. That's at the bottom of, or in the middle of Banana, rather. And what do they make of that? Not quite sure who else, if anyone, is on the other side. And it looks like Lynn Vision have decided go back into that 3-man setup. Call me Sue. He's going to be left alone once again. He's done a pretty good job, I think, at holding the bomb site, even when he's been on his own. I think he's been playing it smartly, not risking his life too much at the beginning of the fight. Let's see if GamerLegion sniff out that there's a big stack at the A site.
And they've been no strangers to going for these sort of gamble stacks on one side of the map, but this time PR, as the smoke gets dissipated, is able to anticipate the player being there. Amelia picks up the AWP. You can see his reaction. He's devastated. He's frustrated. And he knows that GamerLegion now are off to a 7-5 half, more than likely. PR, 5 bullets left in the magazine, playing with his food. will finally go down to Call Me Sue and didn't do that much damage in the process. Incendiary tossed out here as well. ZTR could bypass that one without too many problems, so a bomb plant will be coming through in this 2-on-4 retake.
Yeah, and Starry's only now just legging it through the library to try and get there. To Call Me Sue probably needed a very fast second kill. I mean, it's asking a lot. I don't know how he would have been able to do it, but they needed something like that. Grenades getting tossed out. That's very deep and devastating. Starry's got a single incendiary. Sure, maybe you could find someone, but it's not even going to land in the corner where anyone is playing. So, not getting any easy. A Call Me Sue goes down to Rez, and a Starry is not going to be long after either. So, GamerLegion will come out on top at the beginning of the third map here. 7-5 is not a bad T-side half.
Not bad at all. Of course, they'll be a little bit disappointed they let a 5-0 lead get quite close, too close for comfort, but all things considered, if you offered them 7 rounds on their T side at the start of this, they'd have snatched your hand off. So I definitely think that they'll be pretty happy with things, but they've got to make sure they keep themselves focused because this pistol round is going to be oh so important now that they move across to that CT side. And I'm curious, you know, you actually said this in the first 5 rounds. Where are the kills going to come from? They ended up being from like these really well played, sort of mitigated banana hits, and we saw a lot of picks from Zach. Also, Westmelon had a way better map than he's had pretty much the entire series, I would have to say. But
Yeah.
does that translate and move across to the T half? Because it's an entirely different ball game now.
I think without a good start here, it could still be pretty rough for Lynn Vision. I feel like it's scary watching PR do his job there on the T side. So many great ways to open up the rounds with, and if he's going to continue into the second half like that, that's got me a bit worried. 13-7 on him individually. Look at how far ahead of the rest of the team PR still is, even out after all the first 12 rounds have been played. Lynn Vision now on the T side, GamerLegion on the CT side. And that's some good utility, to be honest, on the CT side. 2 HEs, 1 incendiary. No kit, though, in play. But, yeah, those are some deep nades. Already doing some damage here. Burning out Westmelon. He's not loving life at the moment. PR to open it up with, but they've got to be careful. Yeah, they're running into the Glocks. It's a huge stack here, but they are not making it work. Panic on CTR. Doesn't even get a chance to reload before they're on top of him. 2 bullets left. He lands a headshot on 1, but he's ultimately going to run out. Still a 2v3.
Man, those 2 kills from Amelia, though, may have just saved them. Bomb plant down. They still need to deal with Rez and Hypex. But it was looking curtains once again. They're going to be coming through on the same side of Church as Hypex can't do anything. Gets run down from the gauntlet of Glocks. And Lynn Vision pick up the second pistol. And the game is well and truly back on.
I think that is... It's a very slight mistake coming out from GamerLegion. Once they get this kill, I think that's it. You don't really have to keep on fighting here, but it just feels so good because that smoke is up and everything is working out. Like I said, it's a tiny moment where they probably could have said, you know what, let's just fall back and be happy with that. It's all right. But they had so many people there that they probably also thought, even if we lose a player or 2, the fact that it's basically a 4-man stack at that position, they're never going to expect it. And they'll just kind of run through and get slaughtered anyway. That just was not the case. So, a buy-up in this round. We got MP9's a Scout Deagle and a 5-7 on Rez. And they're running in front. Oh, the timing is actually not bad. They were running just as the grenade were being thrown. That could have been so much worse. Look at the damage on Emilia and Westmelon.
Yeah, heavy damage inflicted, but they're still able to take down multiple GamerLegion players. So it may not end up mastering its Hypex through the smoke. Okay. Nailing Call Me Sue. So there's at least 1 casualty on the T side, but it's not going to stop anything to be the fact that this will be a 7-7 score, and Hypex and Rez will try and hold on to their 2 weapons. So, dead even. We are tied up here. And the money situation for GamerLegion, even with these 2 weapons, not great.
Yeah, unfortunately, I mean... just doesn't work out. I really thought that double push with the MP9s were going to do it, but yeah, you could see the casualties at the top of Banana right here. They look comfortable, though, to be honest. Good resting position. But apart from that, they're not going to have much going into it, so that will tie up the game and actually probably will give Lynn Vision even a bit of a lead going into the start of the second half here. Like we said, almost difficult not to be a bit biased in favor of Lynn Vision, just given the fact that we're, you know, playing Counter-Strike in China, which doesn't happen nearly enough, in my opinion. I wish we were there more often to try and grow the scene a bit more. But yeah, the pressure is definitely on Lynn Vision to show that they could do it on home ground. Great shot.
Yeah, pressure's certainly on, especially after they took a real thumping from MIBR in their opening game and then lost the first map on overpass in the nature that they did. It looked like this would be a bit of a whimper and a very fast best of 3, but it's been anything but. That being said, you can't take your eyes off GamerLegion either. They're still in with a fight. This round should, keyword being should in that one, go the way of Lynn Vision pretty comfortably, especially as, although there are 4 players starting to make a move over onto the A site, one of which is out of position right now in the arches, and they already have top mid control. Just making sure none of these angles have any CTs that are looking to pop flash their way into a quick push. But there is an MP9 around the corner. They do need to be careful about this one. The smoke has gone down. They can now try and isolate Rez, but he gets 2 with the MP9, and that's 2 traded weapons on top of it.
Oh, it could get worse. Towson on the corner. Gotta be careful. Hide your dogs. It's Starry going down. That is brutal. Saka and Emilia left. It's a 2 versus 4 for just a second here. Or Emilia started to answer back. Hold the phone. There might be a way out of this round. They still have a little bit of health. I can't believe it, but somehow this round is not done yet. Saka just with a Galil here, but he's got near 100 health. Emilia, that was a very crisp shot. He's going to get one more before he finally gets outdone. Saka in the pit. Do you know exactly where he is? Oh, he's jumping up, PR. That is not a very favorable fight for PR. The way that he has to jump up on the railing there, but he still makes it work.
Yeah, I think it's purely off the basis, and yeah, my face when I lose against basically nothing and a Zeus. But yeah, I think it's the fact that they double stacked the apps, right? Like, it's probably the last position he's expecting to get peeked in from. Probably thinking archers may be short, so I think that totally caught him off guard. And he was trying to relocate as well to make sure he wasn't in an obvious position. But these 2 kills from Rez are just so massive. And it's like Lynn Vision did almost everything perfect. They Molotoved out the close sort of closet angle. They smoked onto arches. Maybe no flash before the peak was something that they could have put on top of it. But really well played by GamerLegion in the end.
That's a hard round to lose if you're on the Lynn Vision side. Everything was lined up well for them. They pretty much had it locked in, but running into the stack on the arch side and then the Zeus on the apartment side, that's just brutal. Still, it's 8-7 scoreline, but man, they could have had the lead instead. This could have, some of the momentum surely for them has gone out a little bit.
Well, the good news, at least on Lynn Vision, is because of how straightforward the opening rounds were, they can still muster together a buy with 3 AKs and a couple of bits and pieces, a Mac 10 and a Tech 9. So, yeah, it's rough. There's no spinning it into a positive way, but they still at least have opportunities. They're not done just yet. And if they were to win this, it's GamerLegion that are going to be struggling once again, economically speaking. So, putting Call Me Sue into the forward position, the entry frag roll here with that Mac 10. They're going to throw him and sacrifice him to the CS gods. Flashes are good, jumping around. Screws with a vision of Torsen. Can't do anything, and the other 2 players have been cordoned off with the smoke. And they need to be careful. They're about to get peeked in from top mid. They drop a nade on top of one another. It's a complete calamity.
Such an awkward angle for Towson to fight in. You're right. Once he's further back from the corner, and they jump out like that, you can really tell that it's not easy to land any of the sprays there. And the problem is, if you're playing on that railing and the T's are already jumping out, if you're trying to track the T's mid-air, there are going to be more people behind him that are, that you're no longer fighting, that are just going to shoot you in the side of the head. So either way, it's a very, very tricky position to be in. Rez creeping around the corner here. He's just looking for exits. He's just trying to make it more expensive. Maybe stop Lynn Vision from getting some of these rifles back here if he can, but that's not even going to really make any kind of a difference here. They've got the AKs they wanted. So, what a round. Lynn Vision tying up the game once again. And that's going to put some pressure on GamerLegion here. We got the close match that we're looking for here. This is shaping up to be exactly the kind of adventure that we wanted to go on.
Oh, most certainly. We were teased in the opening 2 maps, but finally it has started to deliver. And with the fact that PR's on 5,700, I think they could probably juggle together a fairly decent buy. I mean, it's 8-8, everything to play for. You don't necessarily have to go all in here. You still have a buffer of rounds to play with, and they do decide not to go all in, and I can respect that decision. Dropping a couple of deagles here and there, giving as many threats as possible across the team. Not a lot of utility on show, though, and Lynn Vision will feel confident to push in to those potential weaknesses for the time being. Double Molotoving down onto sandbags. They are actually moving in. Oh no, Anders, they're moving into a potential trap. There's 4 players stacked here. Lynn Vision about to walk headfirst into this.
I do think if they just remain silent here, it's so hard for anyone on the CT side to be watching this. So Flash going over, CTR has to spin around. Wait a minute, Rez gets the kill in the middle to begin with, and CTR somehow still alive. I thought he was going to get shot in the back already by now, but he's here trying to get the spray. It's a little bit too much to ask for. Towson's landed another deagle headshot. He's got quite a few of those in the series so far. And they've picked up the AWP. Now it's 3 versus 4, but with Westmelon being low on health, definitely a winnable round. They got the kit and the smoke as well. GamerLegion, they are going to come for this bomb site. Trading smokes out and a nice start. Westmelon's down and out. Starry and Call Me Sue against the world. 2 versus 4, and they can't make it work. That is another ridiculous round for GamerLegion that they should have been nowhere near winning.
It does surprise me a little bit. I don't know if Lynn Vision maybe have just like got sidetracked and it's hard to keep a kind of grasp on the economy of GamerLegion, but if you know that they're down at fairly low funds, surely you want to try and probe a little bit more before you fully commit to hitting the A-bomb site there. Like, you just walked straight into a stack and had no idea about it being a possibility until it was too late.
One round separating the teams here again. PR is still playing well, but you can tell that Rez and Towson are starting to catch up a little bit to him, which I don't necessarily think is a bad thing. I feel like they needed somebody other than PR to really do a lot of work here. Oh, the money, though, on Lynn Vision is in a strange position right now. They've got something going into this round, but it's really not that impressive, and GamerLegion could leap forward if they win this next round.
Yeah, and they've just put themselves in the best possible shape there. Hypex just wide swinging, no one watching, and plucks out Amelia, who has been the standout talisman player for Lynn Vision. Concerning times. They're going to just make sure that the banana is for the most part clear, but they can't be too confident about this. Knowing that a flash into peak is a very real possibility. They know Hypex with the AWP was last spotted up here, so we could be holding off one of these close-knit angles, which is exactly what is taking shape.
This is such a great setup as well for the CT side, because if you don't throw the smoke to the corner, then the AWP will get you. If you do, you give time for PR to throw out his own smoke. There's the timing for it. Smoke goes down. Incendiary as well to try and slow them. They are pushing out in front. It's actually very impressive. Westmelon finding that kill, and on top, Hypex will be going down. Westmelon with a double to crack open the bomb site. I did not see that coming. I feel like the protocol there for GamerLegion somehow failed. I'm not 100% sure. Maybe it was the fact that they flashed him out of the position, Hypex, before, and just didn't give enough time for PR to throw down the grenade, but that setup should have worked better for GamerLegion.
Yeah, then the Molotov was tossed into the entrance point where it's already pretty much been bypassed, because you know the smoke has gone down and they're already charging the site. So I'm a little bit surprised that Hypex didn't try and bank that off the wall and to try and deny the bomb plant up on the grill. Or at least, like, hold on to it later on into the round for the retake. The fact that he also goes peeking by himself when you still had Towson on A site, 2 players in CT that couldn't possibly help him. Yeah, a couple of maybe sort of desperate, odd decisions towards the end there. Maybe some of the cracks starting to show here with the pressure that's being applied to GamerLegion. But that is now back to back to back, sort of the rounds that you expected to go the way of the team with the better weaponry. It just hasn't. It's these weird sort of buys with Tech 9s and MP9s that have been reigning supreme over the last 5 or so rounds.
Yeah, you're right. It's been hard to predict exactly who's going to be coming out on top here, but at 9-9, at least everyone has rifles. At least there's that to fight for. But yeah, it's been a lot of trading. You could see 15, 16, 17, 18th round here. It's just been back and forth. It happens. Typically, whatever team, I mean, I was going to say whatever team wins 2 in a row, but at this stage, you win 2 in a row, you practically won the series, so maybe they just keep on trading back and forth all the way to the end. Unless we get some overtime, which we all love. You mentioned Emilia earlier, and you're right. I didn't even realize he was all the way up to 18 kills. He's overtaken PR as well. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, he's had 7 multi-kill rounds as well, by the way. So
God,
when he strikes, it's typically pretty hard.
Okay, well, let's see how this plays out. Round number 19. Decent grenade on top of CTR there. You love to see it. Still going to be sticking around and jumping, but the AWP is over on this side. Hypex trying to find a new position. Again, Lynn though, very close to Boiler already.
They've been rapid with this early control, but then just as quick to decide, nah, it's all good. We conquered, we move on. Problem is that some of those smokes going to start to fade away, and one been replenished from the side of the CTs onto middle, perfectly timed and placed. So if Lynn Vision were dipping their toe in the pool to see, well, the temperature was looking like a little bit too cold for the time being. Wait a little bit longer, let it warm up.
PR knows he just has to live through that one. He's going to put down a smoke, and that's a 20-second timer. So look at GamerLegion. They are blind by their own smoke. Not that it's a bad move for PR, but it just means they have no idea. And you can tell they think this is going to be a late B execute. That's what they're thinking. Smoke is about to fade over on Banana, but nobody's checking, and it's actually going to be a wraparound towards that A side. Hypex and PR, or Towson, I don't know if they're going to be able to make it out of this one. CTR shows up, but that smoke is down. This is so well played. 15 seconds on the clock. Towson gets one, but Hypex is going to get downed, and with 10 seconds on the clock, they're going to... Oh, the bomb. No, it's locked in the smoke here. Oh, trying to spray on through there, running to pick it up. I don't think they have time. Oh, just at the nick of it. Call me Sue to punch in the digits. That is as close as it could possibly be.
And that could also bait GamerLegion now into going in for this retake and potentially losing all their economy. But they decided better of it. I think for a second, they assumed that Lynn Vision had completely screwed this round up, and they very nearly did. Like you said, milliseconds away from disaster. That's such an important, integral moment in this game, in this tournament. But Lynn Vision will edge ahead to a 10-9 lead, and they can see the finish line. They're so close to it now.
Man, if anything would have touched him in that smoke to slow him down, that just might have been the end of it. The spray is so close to connecting. What a way to go, but they just do it. That is... I love to see how close that bomb plant actually is, because obviously once it ticks to 4, you know, we're talking about milliseconds to make that work. 10-9, and round number 20 here. They keep trading back and forth. What an absurd game this has turned into.
Yeah, this went from, like, you know, if you're watching a boxing match, both boxers are super fresh, they're super fit, you know, 100% endurance at the start. It's silky, it's smooth, it's super technical. And then when they start to get exhausted, the haymakers, the wild, crazy blows from downtown come in. And we kind of reached that point now in this game. It seems like Lynn Vision maybe just have that extra ace up their sleeve. They have the advantage. They've been a little bit better when it comes to that mid-round calling, it feels like, on this T side. Molotov, it's not going to deny Towson's position. They haven't played up on the porch just so far on quad. This may catch them off guard, but the flashes are so good, and they still check in and get their reward.
This is what makes Lynn Vision such a scary team. You could see now the mechanics are starting to get there. And when they are on, bumping into each other. Rez is auto dead in the corner. Westmelon, not even any mechanics required. They just have to push the mouse button. CTR, not the weapon for the job. Against 4 people coming at him. We haven't seen this throughout the whole best of 3, right? Not every round or every map has been like this. But when they get activated, some of these players are so hard to shut down. Like these deaths that GamerLegion suffered at the start of this round, they happen so quickly.
Yeah, we discussed earlier about, like, the individual ability that Lynn Vision have. Like, it just cannot be denied. They are such a solid team when it comes to the mechanics. Like, Amelia's already shown us this, but even Westmelon in this game. The IGL, he's been with this org since 2017. and yet he's still able to put in performances like this. They're a momentum-based team for me, Anders. Once they get rolling, they're incredibly difficult to thwart, to put a blockade up, and it's like this tsunami of T rounds now coming in, just so aggressive, so confident on their approach. And this 2-for-1 trade they got was honestly so solid, because they hadn't seen this boost up, they hadn't seen this protocol in yet from GamerLegion, but they still nailed it instantly.
Yeah, it was a snap reaction, but you're right. 2-for-1 trade to begin with. Towson's back with the Zeus once again. I mean, he did it once. This time he's moving even further forward to try and surprise somebody. See if it's going to be did it once. Why not do it again? But there's so much on the line right here. They don't have a lot of money on GamerLegion. They've got one M4 in a hero M4 on res. Man, this is a tough position. I mean, they fought really hard for this one, but there is a good chance right now that Lynn Vision could walk away with a victory and send GamerLegion home.
Very much what is on the menu right now. If GamerLegion cannot turn away from these rocks, as the mollies and smokes have now been put into place.
Oh, did he fall off? That is such a rat position for res. Look at this. With the smoke up, I don't know if anyone's going to be expecting this. I mean, it's been done before, but it's very rare to see this kind of a thing. Smoke goes away. CTR is there for the distraction. Let's see what actually happens here. They need a round like this one, GamerLegion. And to be honest, we've been seeing a lot of swing rounds that shouldn't have happened. So maybe this could be another one. The flash is going to land behind Rez. He's good for the first one with 30 seconds left. And PR's picked up the M4, waiting. But they're slowed down, Lynn Vision. They're not quite going through yet. He's running into the fading Molotov. And backup is starting to get there. Hypex now over by the trench with just a USP. Starry with a headshot. And that's all they needed to set this one up. It's close. I know they've won the round now, but if you look at the time here, 12 seconds as the bomb is planted. If any one of these GamerLegion players get another kill, suddenly the round could turn.
AK down. That's what Towson wants. But he knows if he peeks around this corner, he's a dead man. So instead, he's going to wait. He's going to play the long game. Can I get a Zeus frag out of this? If not, maybe I can go and pick up that AK. I'm not sure that anyone's actually juggled that one away from the position either, if it's still on the deck, if it's still on the ground. Towson also needs to be careful that the bomb radius doesn't just outright kill him. He's looking. He's found it. He's got his prize. He manages to smuggle an AK out of this round. Not bad, all things considered, for GamerLegion. And I agree with you, it's that angle from Rez is potentially really potent, but the problem is, I think almost as important from that boost itself is having a player on CT side. You can see they did have one, but he was flashed, but he also had a USP. Like, typically you want like a 5.7 P250 there so that you can go in conjunction with one another, because Rez's position is a natural angle that you're going to cover when you wide swing. But you can understand why they had to just like leave a couple of things off the table, because they simply didn't have the finances or funds to tick all those boxes. It's a nice try, but it doesn't work out this time.
It was close to getting them, I think, a ticket back into the game, but not this one. 12-9. 3 opportunities here for Lynn Vision to close it out and survive. Well, honestly, it has been a bit of a scary match, I think, for them in some sense. Both, obviously, the first one, they never really stood a chance on Overpass. Second one looked absolutely fine on Train. But here on Inferno, there have been many, many opportunities, I think, for GamerLegion to walk away with a big lead. And Lynn Vision have just kind of held on for long enough. But the thing is, now that they've, the deeper it goes, the more their squad is starting to get warmed up. It was just immediately at the beginning, but now we're seeing Westmelon, Call Me Sue, Starry, all of them getting activated quite a lot in these rounds. Seems like the firepower is coming online more and more for the Chinese side, and for GamerLegion, it's do or die time, overtime or bust.
And this time they opt not to try and wage war for Banana early on. They give it up because their utility's not quite there. They flash in, and it's a good kill for PR. He is down to 9 HP, but he got the pick he was looking for. And it keeps Lynn Vision away for the time being, but they can sense the weakness. They know PR's probably low, and so they're not deterred by the fact that they've lost a player. They're going to stay in position. They're not giving this up just yet.
Yeah, but they have the right utility for it. Smoke off that position. Even if you don't get the high ground smoke, surely PR can't do that much with low health, but they are walking into it. I think that scope might have just given it away. He scopes at the corner on the T side, Saka, and the smoke comes out 1 second later. That's kind of interesting.
Do you think, Anders, that might have been intentional to get their smoke out early?
I mean, yeah, it could have been, because they're certainly just recommitting to it. But the thing is, now there is a rotation coming over. That's the elevated smoke, so PR can't really see through it. He's going to try and reposition, and CTR moving in front. 20 seconds on the clock. A great entry for Emilia. A fight that maybe CTR could have won. 15 seconds now as they're getting a bit closer. The bomb trying to be planted here from Call Me Sue, and Towson wants to stop it, but he can't. Oh my god, Lynn Vision. They just walked onto the site like it was nothing.
Yeah, and they didn't have any plan B either. Like, the play that they had, which was Starry on the other side of the map, quickly rotated back onto the banana side, but now all the pieces have been put on the table, all in a GamerLegion, and they are hemorrhaging more players. PR still low. It's a big entry from Hypex, gives them a chance, but it's snatched away from Call Me Sue, who doubles up with the AK, and PR on the measly HP may land one, but that's all he'll get from this round. Lynn Vision secured their space in the event going forward, and GamerLegion get eliminated first.
Wow, that is one hell of a way to close things out on the final map. But well played to the Chinese side of Lynn Vision there. I think that was really sick. Honestly, I still think not a bad display for a GamerLegion team that just hasn't